I am a Liverpudlian, and I come from the Spion Cup. I love to sing, I love to shout, I get thrown out quite a lot. We support the team that's dressed in red. It's a team that you all know. It's a team that we call Liverpool, and to glory we will go. We've won the league.
Hello, one and all. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Welcome to the Plastic Scousers 2017-18 Season Review Podcast. My name is Matt Simpson. My co-host this month, as in every month, is the man once described by Roy Holloway's Orbital magazine as Owen Collins. It's Owen Collins!
Thank you very much, Matt. Yes, that is me, Owen Collins. I've been called a lot worse, believe me. For a minute then I was worried you were going to introduce a new co-host. I thought, he's got rid of me. When you said my co-host this month, I thought, is it not me? Yeah. You had me fearing for my life for a moment.
I apologise. I was going to get your evil twin brother Sydney involved.
Well, I mean, he can come on next month if we like, but...
Okay, I thought you didn't like him because he was evil and all that.
Well, he's evil, but he's very eloquent.
Right.
He's got a good grasp of words, which often fail me, and, he's evil. Like, don't leave him alone with your children, for God's sake, don't do that, but he's not a bad guest to have on.
Right, cool, I mean... That's the rule then. No Sydney, no children, but decent for a podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which is what I look for, really, isn't it?
Exactly. I'm glad we've clarified that. As we venture into the throes of winter and the hectic festive schedule, we here at the Plastic Scousers will be dissecting the month of December. There'll be games, goals and talking points from a total of 8 fixtures throughout the month, in both domestic and international competitions, as well as our brand of insight and irreverence.
As well as that, we complete the back line of our Despicable 11, and we offer up some suggestions for what you might want to buy a Liverpool supporting friend or loved one this Christmas. Even if it is now January. We didn't think this through, really, did we?
No, but enough of that for now. To the football! And first up, we've got a game down on the south coast.
Yes, a new stadium as well. I mean, in the league. I think I use this stat every month, but Liverpool have won at more different Premier League grounds than any other club in its 25-year history. Something like 52, possibly? Or this might have been 52nd. I use this stat every month, and I always get that bit wrong. But yeah, a first Premier League visit to the American Express Community Stadium. Whatever it's called.
Absolutely, yeah, the Amex. Just call it the Amex. It's Brighton and Hove Albion, of course.
Yes.
First time in the Premier League in its modern incarnation. And a team who have been doing pretty well in the Premier League, I would say. They don't concede a lot of goals. Very well organised under Chris Hughton, of course, formerly of Newcastle and Norwich. This wasn't going to be an easy game.
Yeah, like you said, they don't always offer a lot going forwards, but they're very well organised defensively. They're having a pretty good debut campaign, so it was. I think we felt fairly confident, didn't we?
Yeah, there was one thing going into this game which was quite interesting. We were having a few injury problems, particularly at the back, and it was getting into kind of panic stations mode. So looking at the lineup today. When the team sheet came out, first surprise, Andy Robertson's in the side for the first time in a while.
He was still a bit of an enigma, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was one of those weird, as we talked about months gone by. When was he going to get his chance? Why we bought him, etc., etc. But he was getting a chance here, but it wasn't the only thing, because if you look at the lineup, what you'll notice is a distinct absence of centre backs. There's only one senior centre back in the lineup in Dejan Lovren.
So no senior centre backs.
So when you look at it, you're kind of thinking, well, how are we going to line up? Most people thought maybe Emre Can would go into the back four. Of course, he's played there in a back three under the Rodgers era. That seemed maybe most likely.
Yeah, I think he's played there in the back four, possibly. I think at times he's deputised there, I think, like halfway through a match. I don't think he's ever started it.
No, and we thought, okay, maybe he's going to do that today. But that wasn't quite how it happened. In fact, going from front to back, we had a front three of Firmino, Coutinho and Salah. and then a midfield 2 of Henderson and Milner, and then a back 5 with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson as the fullbacks, and then Dejan Lovren in centre-back, either side of Emre Can and Gini Wijnaldum, starting at centre-back.
Becoming the latest sort of midfielder to just end up in playing defence, because why not?
Because we had no one else.
It worked for Milner, it worked for Can, it worked for Lucas. Why not stick another one in there? But I think really we're getting to a point now where we don't need any defenders at all. I mean, I've heard Adam Lallana's quite good at tackling.
Yeah.
I've heard Marco Grujic is very good in the 6-yard box. I've even heard that Philip Coutinho, when he started his career, played at left back.
Well, there we go. And, to be fair, you look at our side, you'd think we don't have any defenders. So this summed it up, really.
Yeah, I mean, you look at our side a lot this season, and you think, actually, having no defenders would be preferable to having the defenders we've got.
This is it. But even all joking aside, putting Gini Wijnaldum in a back 3 with Emre Can, that was no one saw that coming.
No, but it didn't fail.
This is it. It did. First half an hour of the game, it was pretty even Stevens. We had most of the ball. Brighton sitting back, organised. Sort of, they remind me a bit of Burnley, I have to say, in terms of the way they play. Burnley are much more experienced at it, but you can see some of the elements there. And first half an hour, it was looking very, very much like that. But a very untypical goal for us to take the lead from a header from a corner.
Yeah, from a set piece. Normally, when there's goals scored from set pieces in Liverpool games, it's into our net. So it was who was it who took the corner?
Philip Coutinho whips the corner in, and one of our centre-backs for the day, Emre Can, rises above everyone and buries it from a header.
He can score, he can defend, some people say he's quite good looking. Is he the total player?
He might very well be. I guess we'll find out when he leaves in the summer. But
we'll find out when we play against Juventus next season.
Yeah, enough of that until later on in the year. Either way, yes. Finally break down their resistance. Half an hour gone and 1-0, and less than 60 seconds later it's 2. Basically, from their own kickoff, we nick the ball back off them, and the front three of Salah, Firmino and Coutinho all charge. Brilliant, 1, 2, 3 pass, and Firmino's basically got a tap in at the far post. Excellent goal, 2 in 2 minutes, and what looked like it might have been a struggle, suddenly looking a lot more comfortable.
I mean, Brighton offered very little going forwards in the first half. Part of me wonders if that was reasoning behind Klopp's selection at the back, was that he knew that actually it wasn't the most threatening forward line we were going to face all season. We could afford to, dick around.
Yeah, I think it was mainly... Well, Ragnar Klavan was on the bench, but he wasn't fit enough to start. We were literally just down to the bare bones.
I'm gutted that Conor Masterson didn't get a call up, to be honest. But that's a different conversation. I think 2-0. We've seen in recent games at this point. This is only a few weeks after the horror show at Seville, and who was it after that? Chelsea. Basically, every time we've drawn this season, it's been when we've been ahead. We are very bad at holding on to leads. And so I think ordinarily 2-0 would be one of those things where I think, oh God, we need to really kind of get on with this and bury it because this isn't secure. But against Brighton, who, as I say, don't offer an awful lot in attack, it did sort of feel like that was job done, didn't it?
I mean, yeah, first half especially, as you say, Brighton had one real chance. It was only really a half chance for Glenn Murray. So going into half time, it looked very comfortable at 2-0. But Brighton in the second half, to their credit, did come out, firing, and very nearly scored a couple of minutes into the second half when Glenn Murray hits a shot directly at Mignolet from a couple of yards out.
Yeah. Was that when we counter-attacked again?
I think he's remembered that our third goal was scored about 20 seconds after that.
Yeah, it was an extraordinary bit of play in terms of how quickly we got it back down the pitch. Without giving any spoilers away for the rest of the podcast, we scored a lot of goals in December. A lot.
There was a few.
I mean, we played a lot of games, but in a lot of those games, we scored more than the average amount of goals. So forgive me, dear listeners, if my memory of the individual ones is occasionally hazy.
But you remember this one, as I say, directly from the save, we break downfield, Coutinho turns, plays it into Salah, who's running in about 3 defenders, Firmino's off him on the right-hand side, perfect pass from Salah, Firmino first time finish, could have been 2-1, it's now 3-0.
Yeah. I think, was it Chris Hughton said in a post-match interview that was just kind of summed up Klopp's Liverpool, was that they could turn it around in situations like that where they could be conceding, and before you know it, they're a bit like against West Ham last month. Although that was slightly different because they did score, but then literally whilst they were still celebrating, pretty much, we got our lead back.
But it's that dangerous ascent that you switch off for a second, that you toast.
Yeah, especially against a line of like Salah, Firmino, Coutinho. I mean, we need to give credit to Simon Mignolet as well, because he obviously started that move.
Yeah, it's a great save as well, point blank range.
Yeah, great save, and then he's clearly knows what he's doing in attack. Do you know what I mean? He is our.
Well, he's pushed it away down the side. To be fair, he hasn't actually cleared it upfield.
No, but he's started the movement. There's been a few times this season where he's kind of, having actually claimed the ball, the counter-attack has started with him. There's been a lot of times where we've just intercepted or something and moved it straight back up again, but there's been quite a few times where, it has been, as it was against Brighton, the last possible Liverpool man onto it and gets it straight back up again. And it's good. What we need now is for him to defend as well as he can start an attack. But
again, could be said about the rest of the team. But speaking of defending, well, actually, do you know what? I'm not quite sure what to say about this. And by the way, this won't be the last time during this podcast that we mention this. We give away a penalty, but can you explain why?
No, I can't.
Brought corner comes in for Brighton, and I think it's given from a push from Henderson on, I think it's Lewis Dunk or Shane Duffy, someone. But basically, Henderson puts his hand on the back of someone who jumps in the air and flails about, and he gives a penalty. And I mean, I've watched it back several times. It's not a penalty. It's one of the softest decisions I've ever seen.
Yeah. And like you say, that's happened to us a few times.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating because, they say these decisions come and go against you, and sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But this was baffling. No one was appealing for it, and I genuinely still don't. It just makes me very angry. Either way, Glenn Murray scored it, and suddenly it was 3-1 again.
There's not actually been many times, like you say, it goes both ways, but there's not been many times it's gone our way, these decisions. But yeah, it won't be the last time we talk about dodgy penalties this month. Ruined our clean sheet, which was a bit of a shame.
Well, it gave them an opportunity because they had a couple of other chances after this. They did look a bit more threatening.
They did. I never quite felt like we were going to throw it away like against, say, Bournemouth last season or, Seville a couple of weeks before. But it did stay that way for a while then, didn't it? It stayed that way for about half an hour, and the longer it stays like that in a Liverpool game, the more you think, you're never quite sure.
But one more mistake, and we are in real trouble.
Yeah, and it's that kind of, that's when we're most vulnerable. Is when when we're still leading, but it's like 3-2 or 4-3 or whatever. That is when we are like the worst, because like there's so much energy and momentum with the other team, and we just go completely the opposite way. Like our heads go completely. So
yeah, it was time to be nervy. Fortunately, there was one man on the pitch who decided to get the game finished by himself, and that man was little Philip Coutinho. Just absolutely dominated the sort of second half by himself, really, after that, didn't he? Yeah, well, he ran our show throughout most of the game. He already had 2 assists by this point, but took to a few minutes for the end of the game, and Coutinho scores a genius free kick.
It does, yeah. Goes under the wall.
Yeah, everyone jumps in the Brighton goal, and he's obviously watched the replays and decided to stick it underneath them.
And it's I mean, I don't know if he's done it or like he's been told that's what he's done by the sort of analysts at Liverpool. It's fantastic, like, credit to whoever it was that had the initiative to study it, pass that on, put it into practice, because that's sort of what you imagine football analysts and that sort of thing working for clubs do a lot of the time, but you don't ever really see it come to fruition like this. I mean, sometimes with penalties, I'll say like, I knew he was going to go left, but you don't often see it working quite so sweetly as this did.
No.
It reminded me, funnily enough, of a goal we conceded 14 and a half years ago against Celtic in the UEFA Cup. I can't remember who took it. I think it might have been Alan Thompson. And again, he just, like, free kick, all our sort of wall jumped, and he just literally rolled it along the floor and in. And, I mean, slightly more power than just a roll, but... so it was nice to see, like you say, what goes around comes around. Sometimes it takes 14 and a half years, but it comes around.
It's funny, actually. I can imagine if you're in that wall, it almost feels like you're being nutmegged. It must be really embarrassing.
It must. It must be a weird feeling as well, if you're kind of expecting it to go, I don't know, above you, and you're expecting it to hit you, and you're expecting to stretch, and then you just... Because you often close your eyes as well, don't you? So I guess it would take you a while to sort of work out what's actually going on.
Yeah, if you're not watching the ball go underneath you, and it's like, oh no, as you jump in the air. Oh, it's brilliant. And to be fair, the technique Coutinho needs to put on that, because that's not easy, keeping it that low and that hard. But yeah, it's a great penalty, brilliant cheeky little free kick. I mean, this is game over. 2 minutes later, Coutinho again breaking through the lines, has a go at goal. It deflects off the unfortunate Lewis Dunk, and it's 5.
Yeah. It went down as no goal, I think, which is actually, I seem to remember the second time in the last few years that we've played Brighton, at Brighton, won 5-1, and a Brighton player has scored no goal.
That's weird.
Because in the 2011-2012 season, when we made it to the FA Cup final, we played Brighton along the way then, and we beat them by the same margin, with the same thing happening. Because I think that was originally going to be a Gerrard hat-trick, and it got taken off him and given to, I can't remember who it was now, but a Brighton player.
Right. However, to be fair, in all seriousness, Brighton, as we said, a team who don't concede a lot, certainly at home, hadn't conceded more than 2 at home all season, and we put 5 past them. So, I mean, this is a pretty impressive performance overall.
Yeah, definitely. As we were saying, as we came into this match, it was sort of they're a very defensive minded team. This was a great result. And you might think, yeah, they're sort of the new boys, they're whipping boys, but it was a really satisfying result, and it was a quite impressive result, and it was something no one else has done this season. So, yes, good stuff.
And it's very, considering the next game that's coming up, it's good to go into a confidence boost, because we come to probably the most important game of the season so far. Champions League, match day 6, a game that we have to get at least a point from to qualify from the Champions League due to some unfortunate results in previous matches. And so we welcome Spartak Moscow to Anfield.
Yeah, they're a side that we didn't do very well in the away game against. Or not as well as we should have done.
Well, no, we should have won the game by about 8-0, but it ended up being 1-1, so...
Yeah, and you kind of hoped that... Well, I don't know, you were kind of wondering, would we get another chance to sort of be quite so dominant against them? I wasn't that confident, if I'm honest. I thought, this is a sort of game that we've got used to in the last few years bottling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when the pressure's on.
When the pressure's on, and it kind of... I mean, it was at Anfield, which helps, and you want a kind of big Anfield European-like performance, but I just think the last time we were in the Champions League group stage in, 14-15, and that final group game against Basel, and if we won, we were through. And we just drew, and it was just bland and uninspired, and you thought, come on, we're supposed to be kind of passionate about this, and we just... That night, we weren't, and I'm not sure I was worried about the similar thing happening tonight, because that was a very different sort of season, but you can never quite be sure whether we're going to rise to the occasion or not.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we had a back 4 for this game, which helped. Ragnar Klavan was fit enough to start, so a more traditional looking lineup. But pretty much our strongest side we could have played. Pretty much everyone from the previous game had started, apart from Trent for Gomez. Milner didn't play and Ragnar came in, so pretty much otherwise strongest lineup we could have fielded, and Mane was back in too.
Yeah, it's weird actually, because Trent has sort of become our Champions League defender for the season, and Gomez would do the league, but it swapped round for the Brighton game, and so it's swapped back again this time.
But I guess whichever way you look at it, there's no bones about it. We knew knew the pressure was on. We knew we needed to, a win would guarantee us top of the group, which usually means a better draw in the round of 16, so obviously that's ideal. And we knew the pressure was on, and Coutinho's captain, after just 4 minutes, we've already won a penalty.
Yes. I can't actually remember how we won it, to be honest.
Ball's thrown across the pitch by Coutinho, not thrown, but whipped across with pace. Mo Salah's in, dragged down by the defender, the number 14, and we win a penalty. Of course, a penalty at home, not something we found that easy this season.
No, we've missed 4 in a row, or missed and have them saved. And it's like, yeah, we've really had a sort of penalty curse. I'll tell you what, it's since we stopped letting James Milner take them all. That was what it did for us.
Well, he wasn't on the pitch today, so who took it?
Captain Coutinho.
He does.
And without even looking at the ball, buries it.
Yeah, first goal in 5 at home from the penalty spot. Yeah, he's the entire time he's looking to the right of the goalkeeper, to his left, and puts it in the other side. Amazing penalty.
And you just feel, I think the fact it was so early in the game, it was a bit like that the last fixture of last season against Middlesbrough, when it took us a lot longer but had the same sort of effect. As soon as it went in, there was a sort of collective exhalation around Anfield, and you've suddenly got a slight sense of actually sort of relax, like we're sort of on the way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we've got the early goal. We can slightly think about, right, let's go and get another 1 or 2 more. Let's just seal this game off and get it done. 10 minutes later, we got another one.
Yes, it was Captain Coutinho again.
Again, a great counter-attack, something that we'll talk about again and again throughout the course of this month. Brilliant counter-attack, 1-touch, 2-touch passing, Coutinho on a plate, great finish into the bottom corner, 2-0, and then you're starting to think, right, we're getting somewhere now.
And then, in 4 minutes, in the time it took us to score the first goal, we'd scored a third.
We had Firmino this time, after a ball comes in for Sadio Mane, sort of deflects off the defender, luckily falls into Firmino's path, but a great little toe poke finish, 3-0 to the side net, hadn't played 20 minutes, and it looks like we're already there.
It did, and if it hadn't been for the fact that we'd thrown away this exact lead against Seville in our match day 5, I would have been just dancing at this point, and as especially kind of Spartak held us to a draw in the away fixture, so we know that they can kind of get results when they don't deserve them. But we kind of continued to dominate the first half, didn't we?
This was very much this is a totally different game, at Anfield, in front of the crowd. We were running them complete riot. They had no idea what was coming. They were headless chickens.
Or whatever the Russian equivalent of a chicken is.
Yeah.
Chicken. That's actually one of the few words I can say in Russian is chicken.
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 Right, cool.
Chicken McNugget.
Okay, that's good.
Chicken McNuggets.
Right.
Other brands of McNugget are available. Yeah. But yeah. God, I'm hungry.
Oh dear.
I really want some chicken McNuggets now.
So for the rest of the half after Firmino's third, we sort of ease off the gas a little bit. Again, we don't look particularly threatened. We do create more chances, but that sort of 20-minute blitz has killed. Not killed off the threat. It's more just, it's almost like party time now.
Yeah, it's like the game against Maribor was, where the crowd are just kind of happy to watch a dominant Liverpool performance, and it might not be competitive because we've basically won, and it might not necessarily be exciting because it's not an end-to-end fixture. But God, it's nice sometimes to just watch us dominate, isn't it? Like as a fan, it's nice to just sit back and think, "Oh, we are smashing this, and I'm going to enjoy this." Exactly.
Unfortunately, just before half-time, we do have a slight issue with an injury to Alberto Moreno. With no Robertson on the bench, Milner comes on to play left-back for the second half, but it does look like Moreno's going to be out for a little while.
Yeah, he was actually really upset as he came off, wasn't he? Like, as in tears upset. I remember you sending me a really nice message about him that night, saying that, he might be... What was the phrase you used?
I can't remember. You're the one who brought it up.
It was basically saying that he might have his doubters as a player, but you can't doubt how much he cares, which I think is sort of accurate. And he's been a lot better this season than it was last year. In fact, we've hardly seen Andy Robertson, so that's and we're pleased for him. He's still not the most reliable, as we saw against Seville.
No.
I felt a lot better about him coming off injured this season than I would have done like 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Although, ironically, he wasn't playing enough to get injured 12 months ago because James Milner was keeping him outside.
Well, what this does mean, it does look like for the foreseeable future, Andy Robertson is now going to get his chance. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on.
Although I wouldn't have put it past Klopp to just play Milner there. That's the sort of thing I would imagine Klopp would do. But yeah, I was kind of still excited to maybe see Robbo come into the side and get a bit of a run of games together and see how he took to it. But yeah, second half. The next goal, literally just after half time, wasn't it?
Oh, this is a special one.
Talk us through it.
Say just after half time, James Milner, who you'll find throughout this second half was just running their opposition ragged, whips a ball in from the left hand side, and Sadio Mane. This is one of the most impressive sort of improvised volley finishes. First time that you'll see. He sort of jumps up. It's a scissor kick, but he rather than going through the ball, he sort of side foots it in the air, like mid jump and turn, and smashes it into the top of the net. I mean, it's sensational.
The amount of like you say, smashes it into the net, which is a phenomenal amount of power for the side of his foot. It is a truly remarkable goal.
It is.
And I mean, 3 minutes later again, like the speed with which these goals are coming is quite extraordinary. Given that we went sort of 25 minutes at the end of the first half without anything, and then it was like a quick 15-minute breather, and we're back on it again because 50 minutes, Coutinho does something he's never done for this club before.
He does. He scores a deflected shot. No.
He does, which means he's done something he never done before. His first ever Liverpool hat-trick.
Very true. His first ever professional hat-trick in domestic competitions.
Is that? Oh, I didn't know that. This isn't a domestic competition.
But no, in terms of domestic club football, because he's got one hat-trick before for Brazil.
I see what you mean. Yes, like club football. Yeah.
Club football.
Yeah. So a historic moment, and it was our first hat-trick, like for anyone for this club, for quite a while. Can you remember the last one before Coutinho's?
I'm going to say, I feel like I do.
I'll give you a clue.
Was it Divock Origi last season?
Not last season. Season before. It was Divock Origi exactly 2 years and 4 days before this game in that wonderful win against Southampton in the League Cup.
Was it that long ago? I almost don't believe you, but I also do trust your stats.
Yeah,
so.
That's one. Yeah. No Liverpool player scored a hat-trick in all of last season. So yeah, Divock Origi was the last one to do it. It was and again, actually, one of those three was deflected, wasn't it? So
very true. Yeah, it should have been Alberto Moreno's goal, but there we go. Anyway, yeah, would you say deflected in? Another assist for James Milner at this point. And I mean, it's already 5. Like this, the rest of this game is just a non sequitur, really.
You almost think, maybe we will see another hat-trick.
And so after we see the introduction of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Daniel Sturridge for the last 20-30 minutes of the game, it's in fact that man Daniel Sturridge who creates goal number 6. And at this time, Sadio Mane getting his second with another little improvised finish as the ball runs behind him. He still manages to sort of stick his leg out from behind him and flick it over the goalkeeper. Again, quite an impressive finish.
I mean, Spartak had given up by this point, really, haven't they?
Yeah.
I'm more right thinking they came into this with potential to qualify for the next round.
Yeah, I think it was quite tricky. It depended on the Sevilla result. I can't,
Yeah.
and like a Sevilla won, there was no chance. I think that was, but if not, then Spartak could have a chance.
And I think, yeah. So Sevilla won and they beat us. So yeah, they had a lot to play for, but they just lost the will so early on because we just tore them apart. So that was, what was that? 15 minutes still to go, 6-0 up. Coutinho's had a hat-trick, Mane's on a hat-trick, and we were getting to the point where I thought, well, we might even see another hat-trick tonight. And in a funny sort of way, we did.
We did, from a man who'd only been playing for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and has never scored a hat-trick in his professional career, as far as I know. It's James Milner.
Yeah, this time with another ball across the pitch from the left-hand side. See, he causing all sorts of chaos down here. And Mo Salah, for all his great play during that day, after a bit of manoeuvring in the box, makes himself a chance, puts it in the top corner. Deserved that. We scored 7 in the Champions League again.
I'm mad. This was in the 8 games of our Champions League campaign so far at this point. We've now scored 29 goals.
And what, 23 in the group stage?
Yeah,
Which
23 in the
is
group stage, 29 including the Hoffenheim qualifier. It's incredible.
Well, you
Especially,
remember that stat means that we are the highest scoring team in highest scoring British team in a group stage of a Champions League, and would have been the highest scoring team of all time had Paris Saint-Germain not scored 25 in the same bloody season.
the bastards. I mean, what's especially remarkable is you think if one of those, like we scored 23 goals in 6 games, one of those games was a 1-1 draw. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we kind of spread them out. Like, we beat Maribor 10-0 on aggregate. We beat Spartak, 8-1. Yeah. It's only Sevilla. It's bloody... And even then, that's a 5-all.
Yeah.
Draw. Remarkable in itself. So, yeah, into the next round. First time we've been in the Champions League knockout stages since the 2008-2009 season. Which is just remarkable.
We've got to enjoy this, mate. We've got to enjoy this.
So that's in the first 2 games of December, we've scored 12 goals. We've conceded 1, and we're going to a very nearly relegation threatened Everton side next. Or no, they were coming to us.
Yeah, the first Merseyside derby of the season at Anfield.
And who would have thought 2 years ago that this season's Merseyside derby would be overseen by Jurgen Klopp and Sam Allardyce? Yeah, it was they've been having a terrible season. They were sort of in the bottom 3 for a couple of hours, I think, at one point. They sacked Ronald Koeman. They'd appointed David Unsworth as caretaker manager. He turned out to be terrible.
Oh no.
He copped a lot of unfair stick off Joey Barton as well for how fat he'd got, which was quite shocking if you remember him when he used to play for Everton and Aston Villa. And he was actually relatively good looking, in a sort of, bloke next door kind of way. But they got rid of him just in time and put in Sam Allardyce. So you're in trouble when you're appointing Sam Allardyce. The game's up in some ways. Not a particularly satisfying fixture, this, was it?
Oh God, do you know what? I have absolutely no idea how we haven't won this game. I mean, I've never seen a more one-sided Merseyside derby in my life, and that includes that 4-0 hammering we gave Roberto Martinez's side a few years ago. This was more one-sided than that, and yet we don't come away with the points. It was unbelievable. Everton came to Anfield and just put 11 men behind the ball for the whole game.
You say you don't know how we didn't win this fixture, but I can tell you in 2 words. Craig Pawson.
I mean, possibly, yes. But let's before we go to that, let's talk about the slightly surprising lineup. Klopp had decided that this would be the perfect game, for some reason, to drop his 2 biggest stars in Firmino and Coutinho, both of which were on the bench today, with Oxlade-Chamberlain and Solanke getting starts alongside Mane and Salah, which was a bit of a surprise.
It was a bit controversial because, of all the games that matter most to the fans, the ones they look for first when the fixture list comes out, it's, maybe Man United home and away and the Merseyside derby. This is the biggest fixture of the season in some ways, in like a traditional sense. And why we were kind of playing a weakened side, as I guess you would call it, no offence to Solanke or the Ox, but, why you're resting 2 of the Fab 4, it was, drew a bit of condemnation. We did get to see Andrew Robertson start again, though.
We did, yeah. I mean, kind of understandably now with Moreno's injury. Milner plays in midfield, and Joe Gomez actually played at right back again here. So Trent Alexander-Arnold missing out once again. But he
was on the bench, though, as was Danny Ings.
Yeah, he found his way back with Sturridge still picked up a minor injury here.
And Danny Ings, his last Liverpool goal came against Everton.
Yeah, at Goodison Park in Brendan Rodgers' last match.
Correct, Amundo, yeah.
So, but yeah, this game was it was just us having the ball in Everton's half for 90 minutes. Um, Extremely frustrating trying to break them down. Clearly, the one thing Big Sam knows how to do is organise the side. And that's exactly what he did here with Everton. We did, after a very frustrating first half, we did manage to make the breakthrough. And a man who is seriously now threatening Player of the Year in the Premier League does it again. It's Mo Salah.
Yeah. I still don't think he's getting the credit he deserves, to be honest.
I still find it fascinating you think that.
I mean, I think if he played for Chelsea or Man United, he would be everywhere. I think he's still got sort of localised, acclaim.
I think because of Man City, he is going under the radar. Maybe because of them. Because obviously they are running away with the league and their team, their first 11 is amazing. But, you know, I still think Salah is getting as much recognition as I expect him to.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Either way, this goal is utterly special. Joe Gomez plays in the ball. He beats one defender. He dodges past another. And he's still got a hell of a lot to do. And he beats Jordan Pickford with beauty into the top corner in the snow. Amazing.
And Jordan Pickford, in his defence, couldn't have done a lot about it. I've got a lot of time for Jordan Pickford.
He's looking like he might be England's number one for the future.
They can't do much. Yeah.
Yeah, can't do much worse. However, this is a special goal.
Yes. And
we break the deadlock before half-time. And I mean, the way that we were playing and the way that Everton were playing, I just didn't see... I thought that could have been it. I genuinely have not felt less threatened by a team all season.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in an attacking sense, they offered less than Brighton at the beginning of the month.
They offered less than Maribor did.
Bloody hell.
You know?
Yeah. That is damning.
True, though.
I don't disagree. And yet...
A second half of wasted chances, wasted opportunities, frustration. But when Dejan Lovren's on the pitch, something's always going to happen.
And that something is rarely going to be good.
Right.
In fairness...
describe what happens here.
Well, the official line is that it was a push from Lovren on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Who, along with Jordan Pickford, is probably one of the only two Everton players I would have in our squad. But it sort of comes up behind him. It's not even that deep into the penalty area, as far as memory serves. It's sort of a pat on the back. Like Calvert-Lewin's got the ball. Lovren comes over. I won't even say knocks him over. I would just say unbalances him. Long story short, Calvert-Lewin goes down. Lovren, like we say, is always going to be bad news when he's on the pitch. This wasn't really his fault. It was stupid the way he put his arm up on his back anyway, but it was not a penalty. It wasn't a penalty.
He gave the whole thing is he gave him the opportunity to go down, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin took it.
Yeah. Yeah, he opened the door. We can't be too surprised that Calvert-Lewin chose to sort of walk through it, but it wasn't his house to walk through. I don't know where this analogy is going. It wasn't his door. He wasn't a postman, but it wasn't a penalty. Is what I'm getting at here.
No, it's
it was
not.
a stupid thing for Lovren to do, but it shouldn't have resulted in what it did, which was a goal which we shouldn't have conceded, because we shouldn't have conceded a penalty because it wasn't a penalty, even if it was a stupid thing to do. So Lovren actually is Lovren is like 30% in the wrong here. Craig Pawson the other 70%, because people do stupid things all the time in football. They don't all get punished like this. No,
especially in such a significant game.
Yeah.
And in a game that was so evidently not ever going to go Everton's way. And of all the people to score against us, this is absolutely one of the worst.
Wayne Rooney, yeah.
Every time he scores against us, I just feel sick.
I mean, he hates Liverpool. He's gone on record as saying that before, and he will have taken enormous satisfaction in this, which makes it even worse. It was just, yeah.
And so that means 2 Premier League games, 2 appallingly bad penalty decisions going against us, except this time it's cost us 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to struggle to score another 4 in the last 13 minutes. I mean, this was notable really for Klopp's reaction in the post-match interview. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, go on. Oh, also, Danny Ings did come on for a few minutes.
Oh, we did, yes. Yeah, we should say that. But didn't score. I genuinely thought he was going to do it as well. When Ings came on with 8 minutes to go, I thought he scored his last goal for Liverpool against Everton. He's going to score his next goal 2 and a bit years later against Everton. He's going to win it. I thought he's going to be a hero. He's going to win this derby for us in the last minute. But he didn't. Yeah, in the post-match interview, Klopp was understandably furious at the penalty decision. He had a bit of a go at the Sky reporter who was interviewing him, whose name I don't know, but Klopp just said, you know, tell me your opinion. He said, well, my opinion doesn't matter. And Jurgen Klopp says, well, my opinion doesn't matter. And they had a bit of a to and fro about that. And then the reporter admitted he thought it was a soft penalty, but it was a penalty. And Klopp just laughed in his face and said, then the interview's over. I'd only want to talk with people who understand football. Which is harsh, but fair. And then the reporter said, you know, there's a lot of people in our studio who have played a lot of football games between them, who are all like ex-pros. And they all think it was a penalty as well. And Klopp does that wonderful thing he does where he turns and looks straight down the camera lens and just goes, oh, sorry, but now I'm wrong. You're all right. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. And just like sarcastic, flippant. And it got a lot of coverage, but he wasn't wrong. He was not wrong.
No. Yeah, frustration clearly boiled over a little bit there, I think, and you know, I'm surprised Klopp hasn't overreacted more on occasions. He's a very, you know, obviously he's a very down-to-earth guy, but you see him on the touchline sometimes, and you just get quite riled. And I've been waiting for him to explode at somebody at some point, you know.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's still entertaining when he does it. It's not like when Mourinho does it. And it's just like, oh, piss off, you miserable old bastard. It wasn't like it was still like amusing. Do you know what I mean? It was still quite funny to watch, even if you did feel a bit bad for the poor reporter who was kind of couldn't do anything right.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Caught between a Klopp and a hard place.
Hey.
So yeah, that was a disappointing result. Unfortunately, after such a euphoric start to December, it only got kind of plateaued a bit here, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just a couple of days later, we welcomed West Brom. Another team who came just to park the bus had no. West Brom, again, we should add, were kind of completely up the creek in terms of where they were in the table. They'd had a really bad season so far. They'd also sacked their manager. The unsackable Tony Pulis had been sacked. They'd got Alan Pardew in, who is just a bit of a buffoon, really. Looks like a Thunderbird, as everyone says. Not a particularly unusual lineup, other than that Coutinho and Firmino came back in, so we had all 4 of the Fab 4 up front again. But as I say, West Brom did what Everton did, which is park the bus. No interest in winning the game, just stopping us, and again it worked.
It's funny actually. West Brom actually created 1 or 2 chances. You say they parked the bus, and you're right. For the most part, they did. But I'd certainly say they created 1 or 2 opportunities against us. I mean, the thing was, we had the Fab 4 on the pitch, but I actually think in this game, more than any I've seen us this season, we looked quite tired.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of a winter schedule, which we had about, what was it, 15 games in a month or something like that? Or maybe not that many, but
that's one every 2 days.
It was quite a lot. It was. Well, I mean, including the start of January, like the sort of New Year's fixtures, and just for like Champions League at the end of November, you were looking at about 10 or 12 games in a month. So yeah, about 1 every 3 days, and it was starting to bite him. It's like I say, we were looking sluggish. I mean, what is there to say?
There isn't a whole lot. It was a lot of huff and puff and not a lot of action. The only thing
Klopp left it late again to make any changes, and Mane came off and Wijnaldum came off in the 15 minutes to go for Solanke and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Joe Gomez came on for Trent Alexander-Arnold on the 80th minute, which isn't exactly a forward-minded substitution to make.
No, there was the only real notable thing is right towards the end of the game, Don Solanke thought he'd scored the winner, and with that his first goal for us. Unfortunately, it was ruled out for handball, which was some said was controversial, but it's kind of come off his thigh or his chest and hit his hand and gone in. So it's one of those where they wouldn't give it as a penalty, but they chalked a goal off for it. So
yeah. He's not having a lot of luck in front of goal as Solanke. He's still looking for his December, and he's still looking for his first goal for the club. I'm sure it will come eventually, but we don't know when. There's not a lot else to say about.
Limited appearances, to be fair for him.
Well, yeah, he's had quite a few appearances, but limited playing time in each. It's a long time since he's completed a full game. I think he'll either start and come off, or he'll start on the bench and come on. Normally about the same time, either way. Not a lot else to say about that, really.
No. What you can say is two home draws in a week against sides we should be beating.
Yeah, this was getting frustrating now. And it was the sort of games that people like Man City were winning, and if we want to actually challenge for a title, probably won't do that this year, but even top four, we need to be turning these points into 3 points. So it was on Sunday the 17th of December that we trekked to Bournemouth, another trip to the South Coast this month, with, well, frustration, still in place, and a sort of wariness given that Bournemouth took 4 points off us last season.
Well, they have given us a few problems, haven't they?
They beat us, didn't they, the first fixture last year?
They did.
Yeah. So Eddie Howe's team not had a lot of joy out of them.
No, since they came up. Yeah, we have had a few problems against them in various fixtures in this game. So this was particularly with the last two results that we've seen, one to be nervous about. We made a few changes as well. If you look at Oxlade-Chamberlain getting a rare start, coming in for Mane. Yeah, Mane. Yeah. Coming for Mane. Henderson's back in as well. And we see on the bench for only the second or third time this season, Adam Lallana.
Yeah, of course got injured back during the Audi Cup in pre-season, and so hasn't really featured at all. But yeah, played on the bench, which was sort of encouraging to see, and did actually turn up during the game as well. I mean, we'll come to that, but
yeah,
first half actually went really well.
We did. We came out much better than we have done in the previous two games. Maybe being away from home helped a little bit. No pressure. Bournemouth are not a defensive-minded team as well. Eddie Howe never plays that way, and I think that helped us and suited us. Within the first 15 minutes, Coutinho had already hit the inside of the post with a delightful free kick, which was very unlucky not to score. But 5 minutes later, he does.
Yes. Beats 4 defenders, doesn't he?
About.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Sticks it into the bottom corner.
Into the bottom corner.
And, brilliant goal from a brilliant little player.
He's fine. You get the sense at this point that Coutinho's playing so well, given his sort of misdemeanours early in the season, that we might finally be seeing a full season of Coutinho at top form. Do you know what I mean? He's blown hot and cold. We've always had great performances out of him, great goals, all of that, but we've never quite seen him consistently on fire. And you're starting to think that this season might be the year. You know what I mean?
He has played consistently well from the moment he came back in early in the season. So there we go. 5 minutes later, and it's 2. And a man we've discussed already on this podcast for maybe making 1 or 2 errors that cost us points and goals actually gets on the end of a header here.
Very low down, really, wasn't it? Well, not very low down, but it was a diving header. Firmino keeps it over in the corner, whips it back in, and I don't think the Bournemouth defenders were expecting it. Lovren goes sort of quite full out, sort of flying horizontal, I say fairly close to the ground as well, and just smashes it in with his head.
Yeah, I think the Bournemouth players thought that the ball had gone out because it was very close to going out from Firmino, but he does keep it in. So they'd all switched off, but Lovren had anticipated it and sticks it in the back of the net.
Yeah. His first goal of the season, his first goal for quite a while, I think.
Since October 2016 against the Crystal Palace.
That's right, yeah,
Yep.
there we go.
Yeah, so,
Good knowledge, good knowledge.
Thank you very much. I remember the commentator saying that, so that's why I knew that one. And yeah, 2-0 up away at Bournemouth, and to be honest with you, they had one big chance where Jermaine Defoe split our defence in two, which seems to be something that's quite easy to do. But unfortunately hits the fortunately for us hits the post.
It's not exactly, splitting the atom, is it?
No, quite. I mean, yeah. So yeah, hits the post on that chance, but that was their only real threat pretty much in the whole game. We kept going forward with chances. We had chances for Salah, Coutinho had chances, Firmino had chances, and eventually, just before half-time, Salah takes one of those chances with another brilliant goal.
Which is how many is that he scored this season? It's so hard to keep count, actually.
It's loads. It's just say it's loads.
Yeah. He's sort of... I can't remember if this is the point he overtook Harry Kane or if he's still catching him up, but the Golden Boot is basically going to be either Salah or Kane. They keep kind of overtaking each other every couple of weeks. But yeah, going at half-time, 3-0 up against Bournemouth. I say that's never an entirely comfortable score. I mean, it's not an entirely comfortable score against anyone when you're Liverpool, but you do get the feeling again that we might have kind of put the last week behind us of dismal draws, and also finally sort of banished the Bournemouth banshee as well. Yeah, happy days.
Yeah, it was a very pretty comfortable. I mean, in the second half, a bit less eventful. Bournemouth were a little bit more threatening, but never looked particularly like they were going to punish us. And around the 65th minute mark, we completely sealed the deal with Bobby Firmino after a lovely little cross from that man Coutinho again.
Yeah. Was he slightly offside, do you reckon?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, he is. He is half a yard in front of the last defender, which the linesman doesn't spot. But as we've already talked about, we've not had the luck of some decisions over the course of this month. So, considering how non-consequential this goal is anyway, there we go. But 4-0 away at Bournemouth. I mean, it was very comfortable by the end of it.
Yeah, we should say as well that Adam Lallana came on.
He did.
On the 71st minute, as did Danny Ings on the 86th minute for Coutinho. So Mane didn't actually get on the pitch. Mane was I mean, I'm not sure really why we're making that substitution at all, other than maybe Coutinho was tired and couldn't play the last 5 minutes. But yeah, Mane got to sit it out, and Danny Ings got another run out. So
always good to see.
Always good to see.
I do like how Adam Lallana came on and was booked in 3 minutes for a really poor challenge. That always really makes you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, clearly a man with a bit of rust in him still.
Yeah, but that'll pass as he plays more. And actually, it was a record-breaking win as well, because we were the first team in Premier League history to win 4 away games in a row by a margin of 3 goals or more.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. So that's the obviously the Brighton game at the Amex, the Stoke game at the Britannia, and the West Ham game at the Olympic Stadium. Not the Britannia, whatever it's called now. Where did Stoke play?
The Bet365.
Oh, what a beautiful name that is. Not that Britannia's much better. That's a building society. So yeah. So it was with optimism, I would say, that we made another trip down to London.
Indeed, our trip to London for the month. Away at the Emirates.
I don't really want to talk about this game, Matt.
This is a tricky one to discuss, because we were very, very, very good for 85 minutes and utterly abysmal for 5.
Yeah, like shit, like dreadful.
Yeah, it's in our sort of highlighter orange kit, which it's getting a good run out this season, it seems, which is nice to see.
It is. Well, it's because there's so many teams playing in red and white, or like it's like do you know what I mean? Stoke.
Stoke
and Arsenal. There we go. That's 2. That's enough. Well, it's more of a fact that there's a lot of teams that either play in red and white or white, so that their home kit clashes with our away kit. So rather than just play an away game in our home kit, we'll stick on the highlighter kit.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it. I quite like it now, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I quite liked it when it came out.
Yeah.
I think it was really just a marketing ploy to get Virgil van Dijk to sign for the club because it was making think he was playing for the Netherlands, but that didn't work.
No, it didn't. Well, more on that story later.
Indeed.
But yes, by far we were the better side throughout and created bags of chances against an Arsenal side who looked devoid of anything, as they have done for much of the season. As we get into the game, pretty much our strongest lineup, although we see Robertson continue at left back, and Jordan Henderson's in the side, and Mane's back on again in place of Oxlade-Chamberlain. Unfortunately, Hendo does pick up an injury here, which will leave him out for a good couple of months, sadly. And Milner comes on early on in the game.
Yeah. Not even 15 minutes played and Henderson's injured. It's a real shame, but without sounding disrespectful, there are far worse players it could have happened to.
Quite.
It could have been far worse if it happened to another player.
So,
that's what I mean by it.
But either way, it's a shame for him, as a club captain, of course. But, yeah, we were much the better side. We had several chances to score before eventually we do with, I don't know if this is, I think this might be Coutinho's first ever headed goal.
Ooh, there's a question.
Yeah, because I believe, according to the commentator, he'd never scored a headed goal for us. I don't know if he ever has for Brazil or Inter or who he played for before Inter. I don't know if he ever did for them, but it's certainly his first ever headed goal in the Premier League.
I don't think he's ever scored one. Yeah, his first headed goal in the league or in Europe for anyone. So I'm not sure if it was Brazil, but certainly at club level, his first ever headed goal. That's quite something. Lovely little header as well, wasn't it? Kind of. Who was it put for crossing?
Well, it's Salah puts the ball across and it's deflected up off the defender.
That's right, and Coutinho just gets there first, and it's not much of a header. It's kind of like an extra sort of bounce of a ball, isn't it, off his head?
Yeah.
But he just gets himself in the right place and sort of comes behind the defender. And when you think his Czech is running out to get it, Coutinho beats him for pace. I mean, Czech has got a good few inches on Coutinho height wise, and yet Coutinho's just faster, he jumps higher. And just literally gives it, as I say, doesn't put an awful lot of power on it. Just gives it enough bounce that it loops over Czech and sort of bobbles into the net. And that was an extraordinarily satisfying goal to score.
It was excellent, yeah. Particularly because our first half player deserved it.
Yeah, it did. But I mean, it was a sort of game where Arsenal had a few chances, and you sort of felt that they might get one against the run of play because it wasn't like they'd been completely shut out. And so to actually turn the dominance into
What was that?
That was me adjusting in my chair.
Are you sure?
Yes, I thought as soon as it happened, that could potentially sound far worse.
That did sound far worse.
Yeah, that was a chair creaking.
Okay, I'll leave you. I'll believe you.
Good. I mean, that's what it was. But it's just, I mean, it creaked, and I thought, I don't know if that was loud enough to be picked up on the microphone.
It was deafening, mate.
And I don't know if it was loud enough to be on the microphone, and I don't know what it would sound like if it was. So well, I thought I'd just not mention it.
I guess you better tune in and download the podcast this month to find out.
Anyway, yeah, it was nice to see that sort of good performance be turned into the edge score-wise. And it wasn't long before we had our second.
It was.
Yes, it was. Sorry, yes, it was. It was a while before we had our second.
Yeah, the second half. After a first half where we created some more chances, game had calmed down a little bit, but Arsenal still looked dangerous. And let's be honest, Arsenal are very dangerous. But yeah, we did a few minutes into the second half, got our second through. It's him again. It's Mo Salah.
Yeah, just what a player! What a signing!
This one's deflected in. He sort of whips a shot with his left foot, just next to the defender, and bends right into the far corner where Czech can't get to it. And we're 2-0 up.
And as you say, this was kind of, again, just what we deserved. and you thought, actually, we're in control now. Well into the second half, we should be. We should see this out easily. But we're Liverpool, and we don't do that ever.
No. And to be fair, you say you thought we could do that. We didn't have time to think we could do that because it was less than a minute later that they get their first through Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, it occurred to me while Salah was celebrating. I thought, we can do this. This is job done. This will be a great win. And then, sort of a bit like we did to West Ham. Sanchez scores immediately. There was a bit of a kind of lapse in concentration from Joe Gomez, which is unusual.
Well, you say that, but he's done it a few times. You think about when he did that against West Ham, as you mentioned, he switched off at the back post. Not to spoil a future podcast, but there's another incident where it happens then as well. And he's got a lot of potential, but I think as a young player, that's one of the things that I have noticed about him is at the crucial moments, he just isn't reacting quick enough at the moment. And unfortunately, he doesn't here to allow Sanchez a free header from a deflected cross for 2-1.
Do you think he's just had a much longer run in the side than he would maybe have expected at the start of this season? I mean, that was what his... how many games was that? He's already played well over half. Well over half of our kind of games this season he's appeared in. Which you wouldn't have, if Klein was fully fit, you wouldn't have expected that to happen. You'd think you'd be more of a kind of cup. He'd be playing the role that Alexander-Arnold has been playing. I mean, he's done very well considering, but maybe a bit of mental tiredness creeping in. Could do with a couple of weeks outside and let 2/3 of a beast have a bit of a run and. Yeah.
Well, considering his injury, you wouldn't be surprised.
So what's that? That's 3-1, isn't it?
It's 2-1.
Sorry. And you think, oh God, I can see which way this is going. And it gives me no pleasure to say this, Matt, but it did go that way, didn't it?
Yes, and we have one man to blame for the second goal.
Simon Mignolet.
Unfortunately, a fierce shot is hit directly at him from Granit Xhaka. And I mean, this is a pathetic attempt to save the ball. Just pathetic.
So he got one hand to it, didn't he? Is that right?
Well, it's above him. All he has to do is make a strong fist, and he's clearing it. And it's limper than a rotten banana. It's ridiculous, and it just flaps into the goal like that's Sunday League level goalkeeping, you know?
Yeah, he's one of those players like Moreno, where however well he seems to be playing, you can just never quite feel safe, you know?
He's a goalkeeper. You have to feel safe with your bloody goalkeeper.
I know. But he's always got the potential to just embarrass you, like Moreno. Like, it doesn't matter how well it's going, there is always like a mistake just not too far from the surface.
I'm getting sick and tired of people defending him as well. Really am.
Yeah, what annoys me about that is that it's actually the best defending that's happened this season in relation to Liverpool. If we could defend on the pitch as well as we can defend Mignolet. But infuriating. I don't know why he's our number one. I don't particularly rate Karius. I don't think Karius is a lot better than Mignolet. But Danny Ward, who has played one game all season, who was instrumental in Huddersfield getting promoted, who was fantastic for Aberdeen the season before, and he's had to languish on the bench, not even on the bench, just in the stands, just left out entirely for the entirety of the season so far, bar one game against Leicester when he was one of the best players on the pitch. And what has he got? Not necessarily what does he have to do to get inside, but what do Mignolet and Karius have to not do that they might actually get a fair chance at rotation? It's just infuriating. People bang on about Donnarumma from Roma and Oblak and all these wonderful goalkeepers we could apparently be signing. We've got a good goalkeeper at the club who is not getting the chances. And he is, yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those things where if Danny Ward was being stopped playing by David De Gea, you'd understand, but he's not.
Yeah, exactly. If Danny Ward was number 2 to David De Gea or whoever it is at City these days, Ederson, is it?
Yeah.
You think, okay, fair enough. He's a young keeper, he's going to get a chance and he's going to learn. But it's even in the cup games, even this bloody Maribor, he can't get a game. And it's just and it's not like he's untested, and it's not like we're talking about Camille Grabara. Do you know what I mean? And you think, Because I would be the first one to say, oh, we're only playing Maribor. Like, we won 7-0, put Grabara in for 45 minutes. It's not like we're talking about someone like that. We're talking about someone who has got, who has got experience. He's got SPL experience. He's got championship experience of getting the club promoted at Wembley in the playoffs in a penalty shootout. What more does he need before he's actually ready to have it run in the side? I don't understand.
It's very, very frustrating. And unfortunately, we don't have the power to do anything about it.
No.
But we will never win anything with Simon Mignolet in goal. Simple as that.
No, particularly not this game. Because we've now pissed away a 2-0 lead once again, and it only gets worse because 2 minutes later, again, shocking defensive performance. This is what I was saying about Bournemouth the other day, or whoever it was. I was saying that, the momentum. When the momentum is with the opposition, it's not just with them, it's away from us. We crumble. We are mentally so weak when we are kind of on back foot. And Arsenal could have, obviously as have scored, they could have been 4 or 5-2 up. Very soon. We were just so kind of, the same with against Seville, as soon as it went to 3-2, you knew we weren't going to win that game. You knew we weren't going to win that game against Seville because just mentally, we weren't confident anymore. We were just gone.
No.
And we didn't. And sort of the same against Arsenal. Except, luckily, turns out Mignolet isn't the only error-prone goalkeeper in the league.
No, after Ozil's finish for 3-2, and 5 minutes we go from 2-0 up to 3-2 down. Understandably, you could understand the heads would drop, but we do pick it back up. And 10 minutes later, Bobby Firmino in the centre of the pitch hits a shot, which it's not. Jack doesn't do a good job here either.
Yeah.
Flaps at it, hits his hand, sort of. He saves it, but then doesn't save it enough, and it loops into the top of the goal.
Yeah, and it's a really kind of bit of a freak goal. It's a bit of a fluke, but and especially when you consider that really Coutinho's goal came from a deflection, and that was sort of right place, right time. Again, you could argue it was Czech's mistake for not stopping a tiny little player like Coutinho head it over him, but I mean, it was a bloody good game as a neutral. Not that I am one, but and it was a litany of errors on both sides, but it was just, from a Liverpool point of view, it was just 2 points dropped again.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal away, 4-3 last season, 3-3 this season?
I mean, they're bloody good games, but
4-0 at home, don't forget.
Yeah, and it would have been so important to, psychologically, these are the games like that. When you win, it puts wind in your sails for weeks. Look at the 13-14 season when we beat Arsenal 5-1. We didn't stop for another 10 games. We just flew after that. They really do wonders for you, and the opposite happens with the opposite. So
it's very, very frustrating, and 2 more points dropped in the Premier League, particularly against one would consider a Champions League rival. That distance could have been very helpful, and sadly, we didn't create it.
And a win here would have put Arsenal almost out of the race for the top 4, to be honest. Because it was a 6-point, it would have put so much daylight between us and them. But that was the last game before Christmas, and it was to Swansea. Oh no, welcoming Swansea next
on Boxing Day.
On Boxing Day, Swansea, who had recently given, in festive spirit, given their manager Paul Clement the sack. Ha.
Yeah, they had. In fact, your prediction had come eerily true.
I was furious about this because basically what always happens around this time of year is that crap teams will sack their managers about 2 weeks before we play them. Then they'll hire a new manager just in time for that manager's first game in charge of a new club to be against Liverpool, and the bounce of a momentum of a re-energised, revitalised, rejuvenated spirit or whatever of the club will see a side that literally 7 days before we'd have put 10 past beating us. And it happened last season with Marco Silva when he joined Hull, and it happened last season with Craig Shakespeare when he joined Leicester, and it happened last year with Paul Clement himself when he joined Swansea. And Paul Clement was one of the few managers in the league that we'd never beaten. And I, as regular listeners will know, I care very strongly about that sort of thing. So not only to avoid the curse of a new manager coming in just in time, but I was also praying that Paul Clement would hold on to Boxing Day so we could finally get revenge for that dismal performance against Swansea in January of this year. But it was not to be. They sacked him, and it meant that we had something we don't have very often in top flight English football anymore. A player manager.
Yeah, of sorts anyway, yeah.
Leon Britton, who's not. We should add, not the same Leon Britton, who was formerly a prominent British politician, who was accused of various sex crimes against underage children, as opposed to overage children, I suppose. I don't know what an overage child is, but yeah, Leon Britton, the Swansea footballer. It's very important to stress the difference there. Two very different men.
Right, yes. I mean...
with very different ideals, but allegedly. Cocaine. Yeah. Leon Britton doesn't... Swansea Leon Britton doesn't take cocaine as far as we know. That's not why I said that. Anyway, keep digging. Leon Britton was manager for this game. I think his first game in charge of Swansea. And thankfully, the usual formula was not followed.
No, I mean, you did make the prediction on this podcast 2 months ago that Clement would be sacked, as I said, and they would have a new manager who would then beat us. Unfortunately, you were only half right in this incident because Swansea were absolutely dreadful. Joel Matip, by the way, found himself back in the side. He'd been out for a little while, so it was nice to see him back in playing. But otherwise, pretty strong lineup. Ox gets a start, which was good. Again, Sadio Mane drops to the bench, who'd had been struggling a little bit for form of late. Since his wonder goal against Spartak, he had struggled a little bit, so been out and out the side. So yeah, the Ox got a start, as well as Chan, also in there. So yeah, it didn't take us long to start things off, did it?
No, 6 minutes, which is quite a long time these days. I think we scored against 4 against Spartak after 4. So, took us quite a while. But, yeah, great goal from Coutinho.
Brilliant finish. Brilliant goal there. It's from just outside the area. Sweeping ball after Firmino nicks it in the midfield. And it's a special finish from a special player.
It is. And, yeah, for a while that looked like it might be the only goal of the game. You actually messaged me and say this has got a 1-1 written all over it.
Yeah, the rest of the first half was very, very frustrating. Swansea were creating nothing, but we just couldn't seem to score. We didn't look likely to score, really.
No, it was one of those games where you thought, are they going to nick this with a sort of 87th minute equaliser? And we all know the script there. So yeah, first half was kind of worrying. Yeah. But second half, completely different, really, wasn't it? Plenty of chances.
Better. Much better.
Like watching a different game, really. Plenty of chances. We were a lot more clinical. We actually could have scored a lot more. We still missed a fair few opportunities, but Firmino on the 52nd minute. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, well, direct free kick. Coutinho whips it into the area. No one picks up Firmino at the back post, and it's just tapping from a few yards out.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Swansea players put their hands up for offside for this, but actually it was just Firmino being very pacey and just in there quickly. And I think they were very half-hearted protests.
They were, yeah. It was a perfectly legitimate goal, and that sort of threat of 1-1 dissipated pretty much straight after that.
Yeah, it dissipated even more in the 65th minute. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 2/3 of the beast.
What a goal
What a hit this was. Sort of goes to cross it in, gets blocked by a Swansea defender, rebounds to Trent, and it was on the volley.
Chest and volley.
Chest and volley, and literally just smack into the far top corner. Yeah, it's beautiful, the power on that.
His first goal at Anfield in front of the cup. Special.
Yes. For a boyhood Liverpool fan, what a moment that is. It was what a Christmas present for Trent Alexander-Arnold there.
I think I'm right in saying, by the way, on that because apparently he's got family in America. I don't know if he's American. He might I don't know if he's got American heritage, but all his family had come over to Liverpool for Christmas, and they were all at the game for the first time in his career.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's made me. I already loved that goal, but now I feel even better about it.
All his family from America are over, and he does that in front of the Kop.
That is a special moment. That is a good Christmas for the Alexander Arnold family.
Exactly.
Mm. And it's like once the floodgates were open, they stayed open. 1 minute later.
Yeah, basically, again, from their kickoff, similar to a goal we scored earlier against. Which one was it against again? I can't remember. Is it Spartak or Brighton or whatever? One of the
Brighton,
games.
Brighton. West Ham. Brighton
Ham.
was the counter attack from when they almost scored. West Ham was when they'd actually scored.
Yeah, but there was one. I'm trying to remember where we break from their own. Yeah, it's Brighton. Well, the second goal against Brighton is exactly the same. They we get the ball straight after their kickoff and go and score again.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. It was Salah that kind of took it off the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, brick again, nicked in the middle of the park. It's exactly the same against Brighton. Salah runs on, plays to Firmino, who, without even looking at the goal, taps it in. He spends the entire time. If you watch his eye line, when the ball played across to him, all he does is look at Salah as he taps the ball into an empty net. It's actually ridiculous.
I mean, poor Swansea. I did feel a bit bad for them because a club that I don't dislike. I think their chairman's a muppet, but I feel sorry for the fans. Not too long ago, you think they were one of the most exciting, promising teams in the division. And they'd actually come up from League Two, established themselves as a Premier League force. They were in Europe. They'd won the League Cup. They had a succession of exciting managers. They had good players. They were they were kind of becoming a bit like Burnley are this season, or Watford last year maybe. Just kind of quietly, really settling into the sort of mid-table, top half of the league life. Just bad decisions. Since they got rid of Gary Monk, it's just been bad decision after bad decision by their owners. And now they're almost certainly to go down.
Yeah, it's looking worrying for them, isn't it?
It's a shame, isn't it? But there we go. Shouldn't have sacked Gary Monk. And then on the 82nd minute, another sort of half volley kind of punt, wasn't it?
Took a toe poke almost.
Yeah, did Oxlade-Chamberlain? It came from him. Not Oxlade-Chamberlain. Alexander Arnold pings it in.
Might possibly. I know there's a bit of pinball in the area, and defence don't really deal with it. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain muscles himself onto the ball and then toe pokes it into the far corner. It's a lovely finish.
It kind of, I think they dealt with it. Come back to Oxlade-Chamberlain, rather than shoot straight away, kind of took it out of the box, stuck it in again, bounced it off a defender, and then just absolutely, slammed it in.
He didn't really slam it in. I think this is such a very gentle volley. He sort of toe pokes it. It just sort of lifts gently into the far corner. It's a lovely goal.
Well, it had power behind it. I suppose slamming it in is a bit of an overstatement, but
it's not like Alexander Arnold's goal at all.
No, it's not. This is the second time, I believe, that him and Oxlade-Chamberlain have scored twice. Scored in the same game.
Exactly.
So considering we went in 125 years for two players with a hyphenated surname to score in the same game, it's now happened twice in a couple of months.
But you're aware that Trent Alexander-Arnold's only other goal for us came when Oxlade-Chamberlain wasn't even playing for us.
Quite remarkable, that. They clearly enjoy each other's company.
Well, I'm not one to pry, but...
Moving on.
Moving on. Before we go to the final game, a man... Well, we mentioned orange kits earlier. And of course, it being Christmas, it's not usual for Liverpool to give us such a great Christmas present. But between this game and the final game of the season, we got one.
Yes, we did, didn't we? In fact, the day after the Swansea game.
Yep.
Everyone was on a bit of a high after the Swansea game. I mean, obviously it was only Swansea, but a very good result. And, a good month, despite disappointing performances against Everton, West Brom and Arsenal. Still unbeaten. There was a lot of cheerfulness. And that went through the roof on the 27th because it was finally announced. It came out of the blue a bit, didn't it?
It did.
Our main transfer target of the summer, Virgil van Dijk, was a Liverpool player.
Yep, signed, sealed, delivered for £75 million.
That's what wait until December gets you. But it was quite an inauspicious announcement. He just kind of typed it out on the notes on his phone and uploaded a sort of screenshot of that and him holding a Liverpool shirt in front of his Christmas tree, which I hope I really hope it was nothing to do with us, like, or his agents, or Peter Moore or whatever. It was all about. I just someone in his family had given him a Liverpool shirt for Christmas. He'd opened it and just thought, "Oh my God, I must have signed for Liverpool." Announced it, and from that point, Southampton and Liverpool were too embarrassed to kind of fess up. So I was just like, "Yeah, fine."
I mean, I suspect there might be a little bit more to it, Owen, but I enjoy your narrative arc there.
You never know. These days, you never know.
But I mean, we waited for him. Klopp always said he's a patient man.
Yeah.
But we got our man.
And it was, Klopp said all along he was the one he wanted. There was no other defender, which is why we didn't sign another defender, which is why we've had to watch bloody Dayan Lovren lumber around for half a season. But that persistence and that patience did pay off, like it did with Naby Keita, who was joining us in July. You would say that Keita and Van Dijk were probably our two main transfer targets of the summer. It took a few months extra. I mean, in Keita's case, it took a year extra, but we got both of them.
Yeah, it's genuinely impressive work. I'd like to say impressive work to FSG too for getting it over the line despite issues over the summer.
Yeah, a lot of people give them just so people who will complain about FSG, whatever, do my head in, because actually, yeah, sometimes they've made some dubious decisions, but people always say, oh, they're only interested in how much money they can keep, or they don't want to contribute anything. 55 million for Keita, 30 odd for Salah, 30 odd for Oxlade-Chamberlain, 70 odd for Van Dijk. I know that's the way football is going, but they could easily say, well, we're not paying that. And they are kind of paying the inflated prices, so we should actually, maybe get off their backs a bit.
Yeah, no, I think they've been doing pretty well recently. So I'm gonna, we don't usually give credit to owners, but fair play. You're fair play.
Fair play, yeah.
So, an exciting present for us as we go into the final game of December. God, it's been a long month. What will always prove to be a very difficult tie, Leicester City.
Yeah, and not just Leicester City, but Leicester City managed by Claude Puel, who, like we were saying about Paul Clement, was another of those managers who have never lost to Liverpool as a manager. But unlike Paul Clement, who has only managed one team against us when it was Swansea, that one game in January, Claude Puel has got a run of about 6 games, going back to when he was Lyon manager. Sort of when we were playing Europe under Benitez, I think it was, or sort of back under the start of this decade. Obviously, there were 4 games against his Southampton side last year where we didn't score a single goal, and he knocked us out of the League Cup. He's a manager who knows how to defend against us.
Yeah.
And I don't like him. Well, I mean, I like him as a person. I think he's quite stylish. He always looks like he's got a bulletproof vest on. But he does. He's got like a V-neck Kevlar gilet. It's mental that he wears under a suit jacket. But God, I wanted to beat him. I really wanted to beat him. It was a personal vendetta. And it didn't start well.
Oh, it started dreadfully. Within 3 minutes, Jamie Vardy, who loves scoring against us, does it again.
Jamie Vardy having a party.
Ugh.
Yeah.
There's
I
just
don't like
something
him.
about there's just something about him and everything he embodies about Leicester that just irritates me.
I mean, I like Leicester as a club. I really dislike them for what they did to Ranieri. I dislike a lot of the players for how they treated Ranieri. And I was delighted the day they sacked Craig Shakespeare, because I can't stand him. But, it was annoying.
So, poor mistake as well. Matip plays a pass directly to them outside the back. We just didn't wake up. First 5 minutes of the game, we just didn't wake up. And Leicester were on us like a pack of wolves. And, Vardy has an empty net tap in. And,
pack of wolves, really?
Yeah.
Not a pack of foxes?
No.
That's too obvious, is it?
Well, yeah, because foxes don't really sort of do that, do they? They don't really hound foxes run away.
Well, it depends what it's up against. If it's against a hound, ironically, to use the word you just said, then it would probably run away. If it was against a chicken, I think they'd probably gang up on it and tear it to pieces.
Right, so we're the chickens in this situation.
Yeah.
But we're liver birds, so what will they do to them?
Well, sort of the same, because it's sort of avian.
Right. But we can just fly away.
I know. See, this is a benefit of a liver bird over a chicken.
Yeah, because we've got wings, so the foxes can't get us if we just fly off the ground a bit.
I mean, chickens have got wings. Like, I don't think the reason chickens are flightless is because they haven't got wings. I mean, if anything, like chicken wings, like I think it's quite famous, famously winged birds. In fact, is there any bird that doesn't have wings? There's a question.
Well, I've met some down the old dog and duck. Hey, no.
Hey.
So-
Emphasis on the duck. Am I right?
yeah, mother
I was going to say the
duckers.
other one, but that was a bit misogynistic. So.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you know what ducks have got, Matt?
Beaks.
I was going to say wings, but beaks is also correct. Feet, eyes, like livers, duck liver pate, Christmas staple, topical. Bringing it back anyway.
Deary me. Right, go on.
Should we skip to the second half?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, first half. We basically after 5 minutes, when we started getting going, Leicester doing what, as we talked about, Puel does against us many times, and just defending well, organised. We struggled to break them down. Didn't look particularly inventive or creative. Looked quite frustrated. Didn't put away a number of good chances that we did have. But who came to the rescue yet again for us this season?
Mo Salah.
Incredible.
Yeah. What a player! There are no adjectives to describe him which do him justice.
No.
We've run out of superlatives. There hasn't been a player this good for Liverpool, like just consistently this hot on a hot streak, since Suarez in 13-14.
Yeah.
Like Coutinho's been good, but this is just interstellar. This is another level for form we're seeing from Salah this season. So 53rd minute. Was it back heel from Sadio Mane? Was it?
Yeah, it's a lovely little bit of play. It's a special little back heel from Mane to find Salah, who still has a lot of work to do. Manages to nudge past one of the defenders, keeps his cool, and buries it into the far corner.
1-1, and things got a lot better after that. Like, we still had a few scary moments, but generally there was a less of an atmosphere of despair. Mane himself came off on the 72nd minute. Oxlade-Chamberlain came on. It was 4 minutes later, but wow. I mean, Salah scored again. He had no right to, did he?
He receives the ball sort of in the middle of the pitch with Maguire right tight behind him, who had Harry Maguire, who's had an excellent season, by the way. I'd like to just point that out. An excellent game here today, but he was too tight to Salah, and Salah, for a little man, boy, he's strong. Turns him and does him just purely on strength, turns him. And then, amazing finish, gives the keeper the eyes and sticks it right into the other corner of the goal, the near goal. Oh, it's a brilliant, brilliant goal.
I mean, how he did that, like, in terms of just getting past Maguire. Like you say, Maguire's tall, he's strong, he's well built. Like, Salah's a slight little thing in comparison. It's just tenacious. Do you know what I mean? It's like a terrier versus a Great Dane or something like that. But the terrier comes off better. And it's not even. It's not like he outstripped him. It's not for speed. It was muscle. He outmuscled him. It was
Yeah, brilliant.
And that was 15 minutes to go. There are a lot of chances Leicester had in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, which were kind of, again, we know the narrative by now, and it was just like, oh my God, don't do this, I can't take it now, not like this, not the day before New Year's Eve, don't end 2017 like this, especially when it started so bloody terribly. But we held on. That doesn't happen often. My God, it was satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, to tough one out like that against a side, as you say, Puel hadn't beaten them before. Leicester have threatened at the latter stages. They were throwing balls into the box left, right, and centre, but we held out, we defended well, and we restricted them as much as we could. And yeah, pretty much the first time this season I can remember us doing that and getting away and getting it done.
This was the first time all season that we've come from an actual losing position and won.
That is pretty impressive, isn't it? Really.
I mean, it took us until literally, our 21st league game of the season, the last game of the year, but we came from behind and we won. Very satisfying indeed.
Yeah, and beating Puel for the first time as manager.
Even more satisfying.
Exactly.
So, finally.
Yeah, I mean, what an exhausting month it was. But as you say, unbeaten, 5 wins, 3 draws, more goals than I can count.
I can't. Yeah, I've lost count.
Lots.
Well over 20.
Incredible.
Yeah, and still unbeaten. Not actually having lost in all competitions since the game at Wembley.
It's good. It's an amazing run we're on, actually, isn't it? And I mean, if you think about it, apart from the West Brom game, I think we deserve to win the other 2, the draws we had. You know?
I mean, I don't think we didn't deserve to win the West Brom game. We just never really looked like we were going to.
No, that's what I mean. Like, as performance goes, it was the worst of the lot. Whereas Everton, we had it stolen from us, and Arsenal, it was a 5 minutes of calamity.
Yeah, and we were leading in those games. It was, like you say, West Brom, we never really got a foothold. So yeah, unbeaten since the very start of 22nd of October. Sorry. Reasons to be cheerful going into the new year.
Absolutely, and hopefully more of the same from our squad, and a push, of course, the FA Cup starts in the next month as well. So
absolutely,
exciting to see Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, and hopefully a couple of other new faces in the January transfer window. Who knows? But
we will report on that next month.
Okay, so that was the games, and now it's the features. And December we're returning to ever present for this season, the Despicable 11. To mark the 25th anniversary of the foundation of the Premier League, we are looking back across that quarter century and picking out some of the worst, the most abject, the most miserable, terrible, despicable, abysmal, abominable Liverpool players there have been of the last 25 years in the Premier League. There have been some god-awful players play for Liverpool in that time who have never played a league game for us. We don't care about them. We couldn't give a monkey's toss about them. We are looking for the worst league Liverpool players of the last 25 years for our Despicable 11. And we're doing it in the traditional sort of 1 to 11 sense in terms of the shirt numbers, which means we're making a return today to the defence, having made a brief foray into defensive midfield in November. And Matt, tell the listeners who is currently in our lineup.
We do. We have current squad member still somehow Adam Bogdan in goal. Made of glass, Philip Dagan.
It says a lot about him actually. But when you say current squad member, like, who the hell is that? Despite thinking, he's going to open with Bogdan. I thought, well, Bogdan's going to be the first one he says. And then he said current squad member. I thought, who is he talking about there? And then I remembered that Bogdan is still on our books.
He is. He's still at the club.
Insane.
Coming back from an injury, I still believe. Made of glass, Philip Dagan, number 2 at right back. His mum likes to shout at the Scousers, Paul Kajeski at left back. And Eric Cantona, he is not, Istvan Kozma in defensive midfield.
He certainly isn't.
No.
And so, yeah, we're looking for the 5 and the 6 today.
Yeah, it's a double-headed special.
Yeah, we're passing the halfway point with our centre-backs. And, yeah, there's been some fairly despicable centre-backs down the years.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to... It's a difficult one, actually, because a lot of centre-backs have been full-backs playing out position. So, like Jimmy Traore, say, who was kind of nominated for the left-back spot, wasn't he?
Or Bjorn Torkvarm for right-back.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is where we start us off. Who have we got that's definitely a centre-back?
Definitely a centre-back is also definitely Southampton's current manager.
I was going to say him. You stole my first one.
Mauricio Pellegrino. And to be fair to him, he was a great player in his day. Of course, with the double title-winning side at Valencia, when he was in his late 20s, an excellent defender, very well suited to La Liga. Arrived at Liverpool at exactly the wrong moment. Of course, the most physically demanding, exhausting league in the world, as everyone knows. Of course, he knew Rafa Benitez when he signed for us in January 2005. Rafa was needing replacements. I think Hipia was struggling or needed to be rested. He had injuries. And Pellegrino was kind of signed as a bit of a sort of cover-all just in case, to make sure it was covered. But sadly, not a very good one. He clearly was way past his peak at 33 at this point. Struggled with the pace, adaptability. Made just over a dozen appearances, something like that, for us.
13.
13. There you go. Perfect. He was slow, cumbersome, never really inspired anyone around him. And ended up only staying for 6 months before being hoofed off somewhere else. Apparently, this is something I learned though, he is a massive fan of the Beatles.
I was going to say, yeah.
So he was incredibly excited to come and join Liverpool so he could see all the sights and visit the Cavern Club. Probably doing more of that than actually playing for us.
Yeah, he said on the first free weekend he got, he was going to do everything in the city connected to the Beatles. Now, bearing in mind that's quite a lot in Liverpool, because they will just point at anything and tell you, oh yeah, John Lennon walked on that paving slab once. Luckily for Pellegrino, he got a lot of free weekends. Because he wasn't in the team very often.
No.
I found it hard to dislike him as a person. Do you know what I mean? It's not like Congested, who I can't stand. I think he was just a bit of a rubbish defender for us. He wasn't a bad bloke.
No, I don't think so. No, he wasn't the worst. He was never the worst. I mean, he did come back to Liverpool with Rafa, this time as a coach in 2008, where he stayed until Rafa was got rid of in 2010. As you say, he was never the worst player for us, but again, whenever he did play for us, he just wasn't very good.
No.
So
he was just like you say, he was off the pace, he was slow, and the only reason really I think Rafa signed him was to provide cover for Sami Hyypiä, because we were going on that unexpectedly lengthy Champions League run, which we all know how that ended in 2005. So really, we owe Pellegrino a lot, because without him, Hyypiä might have been so knackered that 186 minutes against Chelsea in the semi-final, or that epic 0-0 against Juventus, might never have happened.
Yeah, so I guess if you put it that way, it does sound good, but purely on his actual quality in the Premier League, lacking.
Yes. Well, I'm going to suggest a player from a vaguely similar end of the time period. And again, it's not someone I dislike as a man. I don't think he's a disgrace like someone like Elhadji Diouf or anything like that. I just think he was just a bit of a rubbish defender, just not good enough for Liverpool. Danny Wilson.
Right. Yes.
Who diehards might know was signed by Roy Hodgson in the summer of 2010. He actually came with quite a lot of acclaim. He was a young Scottish defender. It was a long time since we had a Scot on the side, so people were quite excited for that reason. If you think of some of the great Scottish players we've had throughout history, Alan Hansen is probably the best of them. But he was much less of an Alan Hansen than a Mark Kennedy. He wasn't even Scottish. I can't really think of a
Who
bad
are you talking
Scottish
about?
player. Well, I'm trying to think of a bad Scottish player we've had that I can kind of say was the opposite of Alan Hansen, but
I can think of a bad Scottish manager we've had.
who's that?
Graham Souness.
Oh yeah. It says a lot, but my first thought was Roy Hodgson wasn't Scottish, was it? He was. Well, Danny Wilson. He was much more of a Danny Wilson than an Alan Hansen, and unfortunately, that wasn't to his credit. I know you can only be the person who you are, and you should be yourself. But when you're quite as underwhelming a defender as Danny Wilson, maybe try to be a bit more like Alan Hansen. He only played twice in the league for us, so it might be a slightly unfair suggestion because it's not like he had much chance to do anything else. But he was just, played twice, played 9 games overall. He actually made his debut. This is kind of, never a good sign. He made his debut in the game we lost against Northampton Town in the League Cup on penalties back in 2010. And his kind of career was doomed from then on, really, wasn't it?
Danny Wilson was another cog in that Hodgson disaster, wasn't he? Let's be honest. He was just part of that thing. And
he wasn't much of a cog, because even Hodgson didn't play him much.
No, it was a weird one. I mean, we kind of signed him as a promising defender more than a... because he's won loads of awards in Scotland. He was Young Player of the Year. He was, one full season, and he was touted as the next big thing for Scottish football.
Yeah, it was said that he was have a potential to become the outstanding young Scottish defender of his generation. But given that he hasn't played for his national team since 2011, he's kind of been out since signing for us at Blackpool, Bristol City, Hearts and Rangers. It's not exactly set the world alight, has he?
I mean, to be fair, he was outstanding at Liverpool, just mostly waiting for the cab at the car park. So.
Whee!
Yeah, no, poor guy. I think if things had been different, he may have had a good chance for us, but never really got played in the right opportunities, and just, unfortunate, I think, maybe.
I mean, he could play at left back as well. Well, to add insult to injury, he could deputise at left back, but he was kept out of the side there by Paul bloody Konchesky, so.
There we go. Tough one to take that.
It
I'll move on from Danny, and I want to bring up another player who is similar to my last nomination, and in terms of an ageing fullback brought in this cover, I can't pronounce his name, but I think it is Sotirios Kyriakos.
Kyriagos.
Yeah. Signed after Hyypiä left, in fact, to Bayer Leverkusen. And Agger and Skirtle both got injured early on in the season, so very much kind of, again, similar to Pellegrino, cover in those defensive positions. He wasn't a bad player to begin with, especially. Played a handful of games, as I said, came in to just kind of be that cover and scored a couple of goals too. But things sort of started going downhill for him when he was sent off on his Merseyside derby debut. And in the same time span, also managed to concede the penalty that knocked us out of the Europa League that season. So that's
I don't remember that. I'd forgotten that.
Against Braga.
Blimey.
So,
yeah, that was Dalglish's first 2 European games in charge. In fact.
Yeah, and he knocked us out of the European Cup straight from a penalty he gave away. And that kind of summed him up. He was, again, slow, cumbersome, clumsy, more interested in the physical aspect of the game than actually playing football, kind of not really brought in to do the job he ended up having to do because of injuries and problems in the defence. But even then wasn't, that capable. He was part of the Greece's 2004 winning defence, when they won the European Championships, but he wasn't actually part of the team. So, he wasn't actually part of that first 11.
So he was in the squad, but he never played, kind of.
Yeah, not really, no. So I don't know quite where he got his reputation from. I know he's a bit of a cult hero for us, and certain people might consider him a bit of a cult hero because of, big friendly giant type character. Although I do like the story that he was once so competitive in a game against Bolton that Kevin Davis once knocked one of his teeth out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he carried on playing. That's the great thing. And to be,
what are you going to do? Stop the game until you've put it back in? Like.
Well, yeah, but you might maybe get some bandage, something to block the hole where all the blood's pouring out. But
maybe. Yeah.
As I say, he's not a bad player, but just again, it's very similar to Pellegrino. Just was never really good enough, but hung around quite a bit longer.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with that. I mean, yeah, I think, like you say, he's like Pellegrino. He's not. I think he was a bit better than Pellegrino. He had a bit more of a sustained run in the side. I mean, how many appearances did he play overall?
Oh, I haven't written it down. I can't remember.
It's, it was a slightly more glorious career than Pellegrino's 13 appearances. I think it wasn't. Yeah, like you say, it wasn't enough to send him down in history or anything like that as one of the heroes.
I'm just gonna have a look at how many he played.
49 games in all.
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens. I feel like they should have just thrown him on and given him a 50th. But, it's a fair point. It was pretty underwhelming. Well, I'm going to go right back into the 90s for my next one, and it's going to be Torben Piechnik.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought him up.
Yes, and I think I mentioned him for the right back position before, but because he was technically a centre half, we saved him.
Of course, and you knew that because you listened to the podcast and realised I edited that out.
Yes, exactly. He joined us in 1992. He had September 92. He had a lot of pedigree. because he'd been playing for FC Copenhagen, and he'd been playing for the Danish national team when they pulled off one of the all-time. Like, we talk about Greece in Euro 2004 and how much of a shock that was. What about Denmark in Euro 92? They hadn't even qualified. They only qualified because of political strife in Yugoslavia, meant they couldn't take their place in the finals. So Denmark kind of got called up via a wild card. It was an unprecedented way of doing it. And they only won the bloody tournament. So, the signs were good. But he was just your classic kind of Souness signing, just i.e. bit rubbish, not good enough for Liverpool. Couldn't really adapt. He played 16 times in his first season, so that's more than Pellegrino did in his entire Liverpool career. Only one after that, and when Roy Evans came in '94, he was just disregarded. But you know what he has got going for him?
I'm going to guess it's a chant.
It is one of the best chants any Liverpool player has ever had in the last 125 years. And there's been some good chants, right? There's, Luis Suarez just can't get enough. Stevie G, can't take my eyes off of you. Louis Garcia, he drinks sangria. Emre Can, Music Man. Just from the last few years, there's been some brilliant ones. But Torben Peachnik, probably one of the best. And it's only got 2 words in it. Would you like to hear it?
I would love to.
Sing along if you know the tune. Torben Peachnik.
That's excellent.
Excellent. Just imagine hearing that from me. I mean, why they were ever singing his name to begin with, because he never did anything worthy of it. But when you've got a chant that good, you've got to use it, haven't you? So one of my all-time favourites. And now he works as both an estate agent and a masseur.
A monsieur.
Monsieur.
A masseuse.
A masseuse. Is a masseuse and a masseur the same thing, or is a masseuse a woman?
I don't know. I don't think that way, man. I'm afraid.
I mean, I tend not to, but
Don't conform to these gender stereotypes.
It's just suddenly occurred to me that I don't know what the difference is. Maybe there is no difference.
Maybe there is. Well, what I was going to say was about Torben Peachnik. You say another sort of Souness signing. I mean, like this guy made Istvan Kozma look good. Like, Torben Peachnik was an absolute calamity for us. In his first game, he was mugged off by Dean Saunders. And this was a aging Dean Saunders, who just ran rings around him.
I mean, let's not be too harsh on Dean Saunders. He was a good servant to our club, but
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying there was a time in which he would have run rings around you and it would have been acceptable, and this wasn't it. And then what my favourite stat is, his last ever game was the one you mentioned once in the following season. That was against Newcastle, and he had to be dragged off at half time because he was so bad that he couldn't keep him on the pitch.
Bit like Dejan Lovren this season again at Wembley.
Yeah, it was that bad. I mean, Jan Molby didn't like him very much and basically said that Torben wanted to try and manage the entire team and tell them how to play. And so, when they wanted to play a high defensive line and press forward, he said, no, I'm going to sit back here. And he just did it. So we were constantly getting done with goals for offside because he wouldn't ever run forward. He'd just play backwards all the time. I think I would like to just clear up is let's not undersell this. He is one of the worst centre-backs Liverpool have ever had.
Yeah. But with one of the best chants.
Yeah. But the thing, yes. I just wanted to make that very clear. He is an appallingly bad football player. So, there we go.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Good. And with that, let's move on to my next nomination. It's going to be one that's slightly controversial because we've not nominated too many players who are in the current squad, but I'm going to. It's Dejan Lovren.
Oh.
Now, as soon as I've said that, you've gone, hold on a minute, I think you might have a point. One of 3 players...
That's not what I was thinking, but go on.
One of 3 players who signed for us from Southampton in 2014, of course, along with Adam Lallana, still with us, and Ricky Lambert, not playing football anymore. Played in Croatia before going to Lyon, where he played very well in Croatia, but of course Croatia not necessarily the most difficult of leagues, I would say. Not no offence to them, but there are tougher leagues, and he went to test himself out in Lyon, where he was very, very poor. There's no other way of saying this. Dejan Lovren was not a good player for Lyon. And I think they were very glad to get rid of him and throw him to St Mary's because of the reasons that we know Dejan Lovren. Imagine Dejan Lovren and the mistakes he makes, and then amplify that by about 10. That was what he was like for Lyon. I mean, like, Southampton took a real punt on him and got him for very little. And obviously at Southampton he did well, mainly because under Pochettino he had a very strong base of Schneiderlin and Wanyama in front of him, meaning that his vulnerability was never really exposed, and alongside Jose Font, of course. So we were then convinced enough, and he was in the team of the year, I think, that year as well, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, he was decent there, but we signed him for a gob hell load of money, £20 million, which a few years ago was a ridiculous amount for a defender, particularly one who was only a year into a Premier League campaign. Brought in by Brendan Rodgers to be the leader and the organiser of the back four. Except he's never, ever, ever been close to that. And in fact, not only from the moment he joined our club, he's been a liability and continues to make significant mistakes to this day. There's no arguing with the fact that he likes the club, he's passionate about the club, and he has scored some heroic goals. And you can't ever ignore the Borussia Dortmund thing, but you have to take him as a player at face value. And his passion and enthusiasm usually leads that over-exuberance that leads to all the mistakes. And, how many centre-backs have we ever had who have been so bad in a game that they had to be humped off after half an hour?
Humped off. I love that expression.
So what annoys me most about him is not how bad he is, but how bad he is compared to what we thought we were getting.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could say that's true of a lot of the players. I don't think we've ever bought anyone knowing they were shit. But yeah, I think we were dead excited that we'd got a centre-back of his calibre, like you say, and just... Although I don't know if he's as bad as Torben Peachnik or, like, Pellegrino. I think he's better than them. Well, so I see also, where you're coming from. But
also, Lovren has played a lot more games, and by the way, we have two choices to make, so...
Right, well, I was going to go for Steven Kolke, who, of course, was one of Klopp's first signings for the club in January 2016. Played 4 games, 3 of which were as a centre-forward, so I'm not really sure I can nominate him as a centre-back. Then just vanished off the face of the earth. But my kind of reticence to nominate him is because it later turned out that absence was due to some fairly serious mental health problems, which he actually displayed tremendous and commendable bravery in opening up about later that year. I mean, we signed him on loan from QPR. He went back there fairly speedily. Never looked like becoming a permanent deal. We later found out why. And I feel on that basis it would be unfair to kind of criticise his complete non-entity of Liverpool career. So, yeah, that was kind of my thinking as to why I'm not going to say Steven Kolke. And obviously we wish him the best. So I am instead going to say one of those sort of funny Benitez-era signings who kind of came with such great promise and then just, like, were quietly offloaded after a year. And I was like, yeah, they're going to be the next big thing. Like, this is what it's going to take for us to win the league. It's like, is everyone looking the other way? Good. Oh, they've gone. Sorry, bye. A bit like Hosemi, a bit like Krumkamp, a bit like Pellegrino. In fact, Pellegrino was the first ever Argentinian to play for Liverpool. I am now nominating the second, Gabriel Paletta.
Right.
And I really wanted him to be a success at Liverpool because he'd signed from a club called Banfield. And the idea of someone going to Anfield from Banfield was wonderful. But alas, he played 3 times in the league for us. Made his debut in a 4-0 away win against Wigan Athletic. His league debut, that is. He first played for us in the... He first played and scored for us before he'd even made his league debut, which was in the League Cup third round against Reading. But yeah, he only played 3 times in the league, which is still once more than Danny Wilson. Played a couple of times in the Champions League and in the sort of League Cup again. The only time I think he played a full game was when we lost 6-3 in the League Cup quarter-final to Arsenal. Played 8 games in all. he was supposed to be being loaned out at the end of that season. They'd agreed a deal with Levante that he would go and spend a year at Levante and come back a bigger and better player. But for reasons unknown, it never actually happened. So we sold him instead. We just did as I say, we did a lot. We kind of bought Orsemi. Wasn't very good, so we quietly swapped him for Krumkamp. Literally almost like a straight swap, And then he wasn't very good, so we got rid of him. And we got Paletta, who wasn't very good, and so we swapped him for Emiliano Insua, pretty much.
Who was a bit better.
He was a bit better and had a much lengthier career. But Paletta was just, again, one of these bright young things, came out of another club's academy, was supposed to be, the new sort of South American wonder kid, just never got going, never saw a flicker of this promise that made us bring him halfway across the world to play for us. But he did randomly end up playing international football at the World Cup in 2014 for Italy.
Yeah.
He actually played against England in 2014? In Brazil. So went all the way to Italy to go back and play in Brazil. Played 3 games, never played again after that tournament. But yeah, now he's at Atlanta, I think.
It's weird with that, because can we call him an Argentine to play for Liverpool when he's an Italian international?
Well, he played for the Argentina under 20s. He was born in Buenos Aires. I think.
Tricky, that, isn't it? Well, it was because the stats will say he's an Italian international. So.
Well, he's an Italian international, yeah, but then it's the same, I guess, with people like John Barnes. He was born in Jamaica, but he was an England international. So.
There you go.
Yeah. Or Sterling, for that matter.
So, one thing I would say actually about him, I think that into his credit, I think it was just a move too early for him, because he then went back to Argentina for a bit before then going to Italy, and it went to a better time. I think, Liverpool was just too early for him in his life.
Yeah, he ended up at Milan for a bit more.
Exactly. So that was when he had more adjustment time and was able to develop better as a player. Yeah, he wasn't great for us, but then he was also. Maybe circumstances.
Yeah, but I think that's true for various people. He is sort of at the beginning of his career what Pellegrino was at the end. Do you know what I mean?
True.
He was too early, Pellegrino was too late, and Kolka was not the right time either. Peachnik was probably the one out and out absolute shite we've said so far.
The absolute disaster. Wow. You've picked one of my last nominations, so I'm going to mention the other one because I've only got one left now, actually, from counting back. There were two interesting ones, because we can't nominate Thiago Ilori because he's never played the Premier League for us.
Yes, I was going to say him, but realised that he's escaped on what we call the Atangi rule.
Yes.
Where he was pretty awful, but never actually played in the Premier League.
And therefore, it doesn't have to be subject to this. But someone who does is Sebastian Coates.
Ooh, yeah.
Sebastian Coates, again, coming with a huge reputation, much like Danny Wilson did, but probably even more so, having starred at the Under-21 World Cup for Uruguay, and was considered one of the best centre-backs in world football. One of those young centre-backs, anyway. Having starred for the Uruguay national side, he arrived for just $5 million in 2011. But unfortunately, despite all this promise, when you've got Agger, Skirtle, and Carragher in front of you, that was part of the problem. And like with many of these players, really, it's that centre back is one of those positions where if you can't get into the team, you are going to really struggle.
And yet, ironically, one of your other nominations was someone who's been our first choice centre back.
Yes, well, I think that proves my point. So, kept out the side of these players. But then when he did come in, he never looked able to handle the pace and the physicality of the Premier League. Yes, there was that outstanding goal against QPR, one of the best goals a centre back has ever scored for us. But that's one moment inside a litany of dirge and poor performances.
I was hoping you'd mention the QPR goal. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, well, cool. You can't not. It's the only thing most people remember about him. But that's, unfortunately, after playing about a dozen times in the Premier League in the first 2 seasons, which is not a lot, and clearly was struggling. He then picked up a knee injury, which basically ended his career with us. Would be out for basically a year, and the following year we hoofed him off to. There you go, I'm using that expression again. Hoofed him off to.
It was humped off, wasn't it?
Oh, humped off. Yeah, humped off the pitch and hoofed out the club.
Humpton Hoof.
Hump and Hoof.
You can have both, but you can't. You can have one, but you can't have both.
You've got those Hump and Hoof videos on Betamax, haven't you? I think.
I have. I still watch them occasionally, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make sure the parents are out, but there we go.
Yeah, I have to make sure I'm sort of in an embassy when I'm technically outside of the jurisdiction of UK law.
Right. Yes, of course. Yeah, they are banned.
Turn up to the Surinamese embassy and watch Hump and Hoof 4. Classic afternoon, that is.
Oh my god. Right.
Cocaine.
Cocaine. Cocaine. But there you go. Sebastian Coates was just another one of those. You just feel ultimately it was a bit of a waste of talent. He has so much more to offer, but just seemed to let himself down when he played and sort of disappeared quietly. One good memory, but just yet another player who just wasn't good enough.
I mean, yeah. He never lived up to his potential. I guess in that way you put him in the bracket of like Paletta maybe, or Paletta was probably a bit early. Danny Wilson, should we say, like you say, was supposed to be really good. I mean, he won, like you say, he won kind of young player of the tournament, the Copa America, just before we signed him. And it was kind of an exciting time when we were just signing Uruguayans left, right and centre. But yeah, he just had such a established pecking order in front of him. It was Carragher's last season and he still kept him outside. We know how much his legs went in the last few years. He was another of those defenders who just was never the same after an injury, wasn't he? Like Martin Kelly or Warnock or Flanagan or Insua or basically all of them. I don't know if I could quite call him despicable then.
No, well, I mean, we've got to find two.
This is going to be hard. So we've got two positions to fill.
Yep.
I think we can safely agree that one of them is going to be Torben Peachniks.
Yep, absolutely. I never would have doubted it.
So who do we put in for the other one?
I will take out Paletta straight off the bat. Because I don't think it's fair. I think it was just a move too early for him.
All right, well, if you're taking out an Argentinian, I'll take out the Uruguayan. I'll take out Quotes. Quotes? Quates. Oh. There's so many ways of pronouncing his name. Like, he's one of those where every commentator pronounces it differently. Do you know what I mean? So you had Coates, Coates, Coates.
Well, do you know he's half English, isn't he?
He is. That's why he's got the surname Coates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, his dad's English, but his mum's Uruguayan, and they grew up there.
He's got the name of a geography teacher. Do you know what I mean? Sebastian Coates.
Sebi Coates.
Sebi Coates. Just old Seb Coates, head gardener. Like. So who does that leave us with?
So we've got Pellegrino, Kyriakos, Lovren and Wilson.
Right, Kyriakos I'm going to take out because I don't think he was a bad defender. I think he was just the Kolo Torre of his day. A bit slow, bit unreliable, but ultimately he was, was just a sort of backup, and he had a decent career. So I wouldn't say he's a cult hero. I wouldn't go that far, but I wouldn't say he's bad enough to be in a team with Konchesky, Kavame, Bogdan, and whoever else we've had.
We haven't had Kavame, but there we go.
Not Kavame. Who do we have at right back? Sorry,
Dagan. You keep forgetting. He's your favourite player.
Defensive midfielder. Who do we have at defensive midfielder?
Istvan Kozma.
That's who I'm thinking of. Kavame and Kozma. I always get those mixed up. I think as much as it would be nice to put 3Ks in it, or 4Ks in. Oh my God, we've got the KKK, Matt.
We have.
Konchesky, Kozma, and.
Well, we couldn't have Kyriakos, no.
No.
Well, 2Ks.
We very nearly have the KKK.
Well, 2K so far.
Yeah. So to avoid, what's called doing in America and welcoming in the KKK again, I would say Kyriakos is tempting as it would be to fill the team of Ks. I'll let him off.
Well, in which case, I don't want to let you down, but I would take out Danny Wilson, and I tell you for why. Because he actually only really played at us for left back in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I think if we're letting Paletta off, I think we should let Wilson off as well. So I'm behind you on that. That brings us down to Pellegrino and Lovren.
Dejan Lovren. Oh, wow.
You know what? You might disagree with me on this, but that game against Dortmund was one of the finest nights of my life of being a Liverpool fan. And I think almost for that alone, Lovren has got a sort of place in, a bit like how, Igor Bishkin helped us win the Champions League and will always be a European Cup winning player, even though he's dreadful. Even though Traore was dreadful, he helped us get to Istanbul and will always be a sort of Liverpool legend in my eyes for that.
Right.
So I think Lovren should be redeemed, if only on the basis of that one night.
But you'd still admit that he's definitely worthy of this list.
I think, yeah, it's fair enough to include him, I think. He was a lot better than Peachnik. He's a lot better than Pellegrino. He's a lot better than Kyriakos and... Well, not a lot better, but...
I was going to say, don't push your luck.
He's probably, despite having made it into the last two, he's probably at the top of this list in terms of... if Wilson and Paletta weren't so young, I think they would be worse than Lovren. You know what I mean? They've got let off because of their youth. Whereas I think Lovren is, on his day, probably a better defender. So I'm going to say we should give it to Pellegrino.
Yeah, unfortunate for age, but he was never very good for us, sadly.
No. And I mean... Yeah. He was just underwhelming. He was just not any good.
So that means it's Peachnik and Pellegrino.
Oh, the two P's. That's nice.
A pair of P's.
A pair of PP. How appropriate that we've got two PP defenders in our very shit team.
Perfect. So, Mauricio Pellegrino and Torben Peachnik. Welcome to the Despicable 11. We have our defence. Torben Peachnik.
Marvellous.
Funny.
On that note, Matt, did you have a nice Christmas?
My Christmas was excellent. How was yours?
It was busy, but it was very nice, yes. Very nice family occasion. Did you get some nice gifts?
I did get some nice gifts. I did indeed. Did you?
I did. Did you get anything Liverpool related?
Oh, God, think about that now. No, I didn't. Did you?
I did actually. I got my girlfriend got me the 125th anniversary re-release of the very first Liverpool kit. You know what I mean? The blue and white one.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, which I was dead chuffed with, because I remember when that came out and I thought, oh, despite it being blue and white, that's really nice. So yeah, I did. But did you know, Matt, that actually you might consider yourself lucky having not got any Liverpool-related gifts?
How so?
Because there has been some right bilge produced by this club down the years. Would you like to introduce our next feature?
Yes, Owen. This indeed is our recommendation to you in terms of what you might be able to buy your friend or family or loved one for Christmas in January. Yes, I know. If they are a football fan, Liverpool fan, or indeed otherwise, in a feature that we are calling Christmas Tat.
Christmas Tat.
Christmas Tat, a proper little adventure we're going to go on to in this festive period. How it's going to work is we're going to look through and peruse the archives for, presents that you can buy this Christmas. Starting with some Liverpool stuff, and then venturing further afield to other football and other club-related paraphernalia. So, Owen, should we talk about some of the stuff we can find at the Liverpool Club store?
Yeah, some wonderful things. Well, should we start with something that's not even football related?
Please.
Despite being Liverpool branded, you can get Liverpool. You can get golf tees.
Lovely.
You can buy Liverpool. In fact, there used to be a whole range of It was called LFC Golf. There was a whole range of merchandise. So if golf tees weren't quite your thing, you could get golf balls. You could get a golfing umbrella, or you could even get a golf club head cover.
Lovely.
So for when you're carrying your clubs in your caddy bag or whatever they're called, but you don't want the big bit to get cold. It's basically a big chunky sock with a live bird on that you pull over the head of your golf club.
That is excellent.
Not even football related.
That is very impressive. Well, if you're looking at ways of going on a middle-class adventure, why not take an LSE Black Signature Holdall with you? For just the low price of £130, you can get a black Holdall with tiny little letters with the LSE imprint on them. Absolutely tiny, genuinely.
Tiny little letters.
Like, honestly, you could make this thing for 20 quid and you could sell it for with the exact same make. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that's true of a lot of his tatlos, in fairness. You'd make it a lot cheaper than you could buy it. Well, I mean, you might want to take your Holdall away on holiday with you, but you'll be driving in. And of course, a couple of years ago, when tax discs were still a thing, should a friendly neighbourhood constable pull you over and ask to check your tax, you could show him your tax disc held in your Liverpool FC tax disc holder. Make sure that everyone knows which team you support when they're sat in your passenger seat, with the Anfield Stadium tastefully splashed on the back of a tax disc holder, which you can't even see through the windscreen because you can just see the tax disc.
Oh, that is excellent. It's nice to know your passengers would know your Liverpool supporting nature.
But I mean, this is why would you brand a tax disc holder? Who at any point thought, I know what we can move into, tax disc holders, that's a lucrative market. They don't even make tax discs anymore.
No, it's all online.
Yeah. It's like mouse mats.
Well, I tell you another thing. If seeing enough of Anfield in itself isn't good enough on a tax disc, how about an entire Hawaiian shirt with Anfield blazoned across the front and back?
This is a fantastic shirt. I found this as well. It is just, it's a beauty.
Oh, it's hideous, isn't it?
It's what I love about it is it's got the same picture on the front and the back. Yeah,
they couldn't even bother to go to the cop end and take the other picture.
Yeah. That could be sort of cool if it was like a 360 panorama of the stadium, but wrapped around your torso. Ugh. But instead, it's just the same front. What? Why? Why would you just want the same thing on the back as the front?
Why would anyone wear that?
I mean, it's not even centered. Do you know what I mean? If you look at where the buttons are on that, it's like basically on the left-hand goalpost. They've not even centered the photo.
It's so lazy.
You don't get the whole of the cop in, but you get a little bit of a centenary stand. It's ludicrous.
It's so good.
Well, you might want to crack open an ice cold beer when you're wearing your Hawaiian shirt, and why not use a Liverpool branded bottle opener, or even better, a Liverpool player themed bottle opener. Everybody knows Luis Suarez had quite big teeth, good enough to chomp into various opposition players, and good enough to open a bottle. I don't have an image of this to send you, Matt, but basically imagine a caricature of Luis Suarez, except with a massive teeth, being where you open a bottle of beer.
That is excellent. Have you seen the Kevin Keegan one as well?
I have.
It looks utterly dreadful.
I mean, is it Keegan? Is it?
Well, it's not, but I think it's not. I just want to be a generic one.
Yeah,
I've just found the Luis Suarez bottle opener, by the way.
It's cool, isn't it? He's in his Uruguay kit, so it's not quite as.
Oh no, there's a Liverpool one I found.
Oh, okay. I've not seen the Liverpool one.
Yeah, I have seen a Liverpool one.
But I mean, Suarez actually had the teeth to pull it off at least. You know what I mean? Whereas. What I like about the Keegan one is if you look closely, the sponsors of the shirt are Liverpool Football Club.
I mean, that's the sort of thing you'd find in one of those weird kind of off-kilter shops that sell shisha pipes and things.
Like Egham Essentials.
Yeah, they sell shisha pipes, fake guns that are illegal, and weird bottle openers.
Yeah, and ashtrays and kind of plungers.
Yeah, it's that kind of tat, isn't it?
Fake handcuffs, birthday cards, and stacking bins.
Amazing.
And every form of Tupperware under the sun. What else have we got?
This is quite good. This is if you're a gardener and you love Liverpool so much, you're nothing better than to have a 2017-18 home kit Liverpool FC Garden Gnome.
This is the sort of thing that I would actually buy for my granny.
Oh God, it's awful. Why would you want that?
She likes her gnomes. She's actually got various gnomes in England kits already, one of which is named after Roy Hodgson and one of which is named after Harry Redknapp. Draw your own conclusions there. But this isn't the worst gnome I've ever seen. Although, again, his kit is sponsored by Liverpool Football Club.
it must be some sort of legal thing, but
Yeah.
I mean, I
Do
just
they just
don't.
not have the rights to Standard Chartered to put on a gnome?
But what I don't understand is why is he playing with an old-fashioned football?
Well, he does look quite old-fashioned, doesn't he?
Yeah,
But
but if you're buying that for a modern era, you'd at least want a white football.
also, I can't tell if that football is really small or if his feet are really big.
He's wearing quite like clunky shoes, isn't he?
He is. I mean, his shoes are actually the length of his the sole of his foot to his knee. I mean, he's got enormous feet, so it's no wonder the football looks small. But the football is also like I don't know. He's very off proportioned anyway, because the football is the size of his cheek. But yeah. Well, if you are a gardener, but you maybe don't have a garden, but you'd like to get your fingers green, why not invest in a grow your own Anfield?
What?
It's a small packet of sort of grass seed of the same variety used at the club, apparently, which you place in a small tray in front of a cardboard model of the Anfield stands, and then with diligent care and attention, you too can grow some grass. Because a lot of people look at the Liverpool team and say, when I grow up, I'd like to be Luis Suarez. When I grow up, I'd like to be Steven Gerrard. When I grow up, I'd like to be Trent Alexander-Arnold even. But how many of us have looked at it and said, when I grow up, I'd like to be that guy who comes on with a fork at half time?
Yeah, or the guy who organises the sprinklers.
Exactly. But if you've ever wanted to be that guy, invest in a grow your own Anfield. And it's like watching L4 come alive in front of your eyes.
Oh, that is incredible.
That centimetre squared of it.
Do you know what I've always found? Do you know what problem I've always had? I think Rubik's Cubes are too boring. Do you know what I'd rather have on them? Yeah, I think we all can empathise with this problem. What I'd really like is to have a cut-out picture of Anfield and "This is Anfield" sign on different fascias. Well, you can, with an official LFC Rubik's Cube. The various different sides, one including several different iterations of the Liver Bird, and that's repeated 3 times. This is literally the just genuinely awful tat that you buy. All of this, by the way, so far that I've read out, you can buy on the official club website.
See, some of mine so far have been unofficial, but I'm not sure it's... I mean, but the Rubik's Cube thing, I sort of get where they're coming from, but the very point of Rubik's Cube is it has to switch around. So you've got this nice image of Anfield, but then you literally mangle it. Do you know what I mean? You're destroying the stadium in your hands.
And this is Anfield, one of the most, hallowed things at Anfield. You're just tearing it apart.
But yeah, I don't understand. Well, Matt, talking of Anfield, how many times have you maybe been at Anfield and you want to take a selfie, but your arms just aren't long enough?
Oh.
And you think, oh, maybe I should get one of those selfie sticks. But what if people beat me up thinking that, I've got a selfie stick and I'm not displaying sufficient allegiance to my club? Well, worry no more, because now you can get the official LFC branded selfie stick decorated with liver birds to help you take selfies at Anfield without anyone questioning what team you support. Except one thing. Hilariously, selfie sticks are banned at Anfield and you're not allowed to take them into the ground.
No.
Yes. And yet you can still buy Liverpool branded selfie sticks, which you are not allowed to take to a Liverpool game with you.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is some good research. I like that a lot. Well done, sir. That is very funny. Hey, do you know what else you're not allowed to take into the stadium? Dogs. So instead, in order to show your dogs... What's so funny?
I don't know why that's so funny. I don't know why.
I mean, unless I'm wrong, you aren't allowed to take dogs into the stadium.
Unless you're blind.
Yes, true, of course. Well, if you have a guide dog, or if you don't, why not buy a red dog hoodie, Liverpool branded, for your dog, with a nice adorable sign saying "You'll never walk alone" on the front, where the O's are replaced with dog paws. Isn't that adorable? Isn't that adorable? Do you know the one thing? Do you know the one thing that's funny about this? You can only buy it in large. So it's only for fat dogs.
It's only for fat dogs. I think if I wasn't blind when I was going into Anfield with my dog, if he had that on, I think I would wish I was.
Yeah. It is another horrible horror. I mean, I don't like dogs wearing clothes anyway. I think it's ridiculous. But
yeah, I mean, why do you never see any fat guide dogs?
Well, they're so busy exercising to do everything for their owners.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who's got a dog, and they bought it a high-vis yellow harness to put on it just when we took out the walkies, so that they could take it into shops and people would think they were blind.
That's quite clever, actually.
Because they didn't want to leave it outside.
That's quite clever.
You know what else you're not allowed to take into Anfield, Matt?
Go on.
Guns.
No.
Unfortunately, there isn't an LFC branded gun, but you know what else you're not allowed to take into Anfield?
Go on.
Your own alcohol.
Right.
Which is a shame if you've recently treated yourself to some LFC branded wine.
Ooh, lovely.
Or maybe, if you're feeling particularly exotic, some LFC branded champagne. Because, there's been so many occasions for champagne down the years, hasn't there?
I was going to say, to be opened with LFC next to win a... oh, you finished the joke.
Yeah. You can even have it personalised. So it's like, you know, if you just realise that there's not going to be a footballing occasion to open it, you can just say, like, happy birthday. Which is, you know, not unpleasant. But it's worth pointing out at this juncture that Spurs make their own whiskey.
Oh, hello. That sounds quite nice, actually. I'd quite like to have a go at that.
I think I'd rather have a wine, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, each their own. You know, we are talking about Christmas, and we haven't really talked about any Christmas gifts you can get yet. And it's no bloody wonder when you see the LSC Christmas elf officially that you can buy from the store. Owen, please see the picture of this.
This is dreadful. I had a look at this. This is awful. This is genuinely terrifying.
What is it? Where is it staring, and why is it so happy?
Just like, why is its arms so long?
It's just the eyes, mate. The eyes are freaking me out.
Yeah, but with arms that long, there's only one question you can ask yourself.
Yeah. Can
it play in gold?
It does look a bit like Simon Mignolet. It does.
It does.
This is the most visual thing we've ever done, but it really does.
It really works well with audio.
Go and look at it. Christmas Elf, LFD Christmas Elf. It's horrible.
I mean, another thing about Christmas is that it can get quite cold. You know, it can get quite drafty in a house. You want to put a draft excluder down. So why not make it a Liverpool-themed draft excluder?
Right.
Actually, if you search for this, you'll find a picture. This is quite nice. I mean, it's sort of like quite nice woven sort of fabric. It's kind of a sort of like a sort of Fair Isle jumper kind of pattern, a sort of red and white, like kind of like red with sort of white, like ziggity zaggedy lines and sort of liver birds on it. It looks quite sort of festive and nice. But it is basically just a big sack of sand.
Well, I mean, we've had some of them playing up front for us in recent years, so.
That's been playing everywhere for us, Matt. We got two of them in defence at the moment.
That's true. No, it's quite nice actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I would probably consider buying for someone.
Yeah, I mean, that isn't bad. Now, speaking of images and things, Owen, have you seen the picture of the LSE salt and pepper shakers?
I have. I like these.
I do like them, but can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Who the hell are they meant to be?
Well, the one on the left is Joel Matip.
What, the one with the moustache?
The one with the moustache.
The Caucasian guy with the moustache, yeah?
The Caucasian guy with the moustache. And the one on the right is Paul Konchesky.
Right, the black-haired guy with the white nose.
In his hairy days.
To be fair, he's got a white nose, so he might be Nathaniel Klein. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Good.
But in all seriousness, right, the guy with the moustache is number 9, and the guy on the right is number 7. But, I mean, who is that meant to be?
I think it's supposed to... I mean, it looks a bit like Kenny Dalglish if he had black hair rather than sort of browny blonde hair like he did.
What, the number 7?
Yeah. Well, Dalglish was 7, wasn't he?
And Ian Rush number 9?
I mean, Ian Rush never had quite such a side parting as that.
No, but he did have a moustache.
What scares me is it's actually the same person, just one of them's got a moustache on.
It's one of the.
It's a bit like in the Wallace and Gromit episode where the penguin disguises himself as a chicken just by putting a rubber glove on his head.
Yeah,
like, that is the same person.
It really is.
They're identical, but just one of them stuck a fake moustache on.
If you look at it carefully, you won't unsee this now. If you look at their shoes, it looks like they've dropped their trousers.
It does. I was just looking at them thinking, What's funny about their feet? There's something not right about those feet.
It's like they've got those black trousers and they've got shorts on underneath.
In fairness, they're wearing LFC branded underwear, like thermal, like knee-length underwear.
Which wouldn't be the worst idea of things we've seen today.
No. Well, let's talk a bit about clothing. I know we've covered it briefly, but there's some quite terrible. Actually, no. Before we move on to the clothing, we've just kind of taken us into the kitchen with the salt and pepper. Let's talk about some other granulated products. What? Oh, sorry. Nathaniel Klein just tried to. No, not that sort of. Never mind. He heard the word granulated products and got excited. But yeah, talking of collections of white powder. Have you ever just had all this sugar lying across your kitchen worktop and thinking, where am I going to keep all this sugar? Like, I can't leave it here. It needs to go in some sort of vessel. Right. Why not get yourself a sugar jar? With the kind of old-fashioned Liverpool crest on. And actually, this is another thing I would consider buying. It's a jar. It's a tea jar, a coffee jar, and a sugar jar, like you see, like to keep your tea bags in or to keep your coffee in, like you would see in a kitchen or a staff room. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But modelled on the "This is Anfield" sign.
I was going to say, I've just found these. They're quite cool.
Yeah. But instead of saying "This is Anfield," it says "This is tea," "This is coffee," "This is sugar." I like these.
Oh, but you know, all you'd want to do is put the wrong ones in the wrong jars, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, just to wind whoever they were up, like. But actually, as merchandise goes, I think they're just ridiculous because it says "This is coffee" rather than "This is Anfield," like as if you might get confused between Anfield and some coffee. It's like, where are Liverpool playing today? Like, they're playing at home, really? But I thought their home ground was just lots of, like ground Colombian bean substance. Like, this is coffee? No, this is Anfield. This is coffee. Oh, I see. This is... Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder why I was trying to make a cup of tea with a massive, like, £50 million stadium. Anyway, yeah, so they're cool. I like those.
Well, what you could do is you could get the "This is tea" and get your golf tees and put them in there.
Yes!
There you go. There you go. Yeah, he's on fire.
That's a good callback.
I did find these quite intriguing. You can get lots of LSE personalised stuff, of course. It's all kind of the rage. But you can get personalised mouse mats, which feel a bit cheap and tacky. But I mean, if your kid might want them, that's fine, I guess. That would be quite cool. And what it is there's one where they've got the shirts hanging up. So they've got Firmino, and you've got Lallana, and you've got Henderson, and then there's you, and your name can go there. Except you have to be number 8. You can't change the number. They won't let you change the number. Only put a name in. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to be number 8. And but what about Naby Keita when he comes?
I think what I do with that is I just personalise it so it said Gerrard, and I just keep it at my desk and pretend he hadn't left.
Oh, but you know, this summer is when the 8's finally going to go to someone else, right?
Is that official? Has it been announced?
I think basically, yeah. It's not announced, but it's happening. Naby Keita will take the number 8 shirt.
Although I hear rumours that the number 10 might become available.
Maybe, but you can't change it on this, sadly. Although the number next to it is number 10, so
yeah.
So I
hear rumours that the number 2 might become available.
It might be, yeah.
But that's no way to talk about Dejan Lovren.
That's very true, yes. And yeah, number 34, still nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. What number's Flanagan?
38.
Be 18 months to this, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, God, we've got a lot to talk about in January, haven't we?
We have.
Right. So, mouse mats are like, I don't think it's a bad gift, but it's another of those things like tax disc holders where they're sort of redundant now. Do you know what I mean? Who has a mouse with a ball in it anymore?
That's true.
Right, that's what they're for, isn't it? For like rollerball mouses, mices. That's kind of most of the really dreadful stuff. I just want to draw your attention to a couple of. I'll just do a few at once. Couple of dreadful items of clothing. There's the Balotelli Mohawk boot.
The what?
The Puma Evo Power Balotelli boot. It's like a sky blue boot. So again, it's a bit like the Luis Suarez bottle opener. It's about the player rather than that Liverpool as a club. But it's got "Why Always Me" stitched into the ankle bit. And on the back, down the back of the heel, it's got a mohawk.
Oh, it says "Why Always Puma"?
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was so horrified by it, I didn't read it properly. I just saw it and thought, that is dreadful.
Yeah, they're pretty horrible.
They're basically treating your boots like you would treat your comic relief red nose. It's like, oh, how can we make this different to everyone else's? Oh, just give it some little hair. Like, I'd like comic relief red noses, but I wouldn't wear them on my feet for a game of football.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. There's also the we didn't talk about the patio set.
No, we haven't talked about the children's patio set.
Tell us about the children's patios.
We haven't.
Children's patios. A patio set would be bad enough, but a children's patio set.
How many children ask their mum for Christmas for a Liverpool-branded children's patio set?
I mean, the thing is, I probably would have done that if I came out when I was a kid. I said, I'd have loved this.
But it's two very small chairs, a very small table, and a very small parasol. I don't understand why anyone would want that.
It's kind of cute, though. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like...
But what children have everything else that they need a patio set because they've got literally everything else that you could possibly hope to buy a child?
I just don't get why it's a children's patio set.
No.
Why can they not make an adult patio set?
Well,
It's not like children are statistically more likely to sit on patios than adults. If anything, it's the other way round.
Yeah.
Children don't sit on patios. Patios are adult pursuits.
Yeah, the kids go play in the garden, and the mum and dad have a glass of wine and a cigarette. So
Or a glass of Liverpool branded champagne.
yes, whilst wearing their horrible Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah. Well, there's two worse shirts in Liverpool related history that I'd like to finish on, if that's all right with you.
Yes, please.
The first is not actually a Liverpool shirt at all, but it's at the time of release it was still Liverpool related. If you love Philip Coutinho, why not get his name on the back of your shirt? And why not make it the new Nike Barcelona shirt? Yeah, because this is one other thing that happened in December, which we haven't touched upon yet, is that Nike, Barcelona, fresh from trying to unsettle Coutinho for most of this campaign so far, have basically now while he's still a Liverpool player, they've started taking orders to buy a Barcelona shirt with his name print on the back.
Amazing. He hasn't even got a squad number.
Hasn't got a squad number, but they've just said, Coutinho's on his way to Barca, order your shirt now. And it's an absolute piss take. I don't know what... Like, Southampton complained about us tapping up Van Dijk in the summer. Fair enough. Why we haven't done the same to Barcelona, I don't know, because they are taking the piss. So that is the second worst Liverpool-related shirt it's possible to buy. Do you know what the first is?
Go on.
Cast your mind back to about April 2014.
Yes.
And a very famous... very unfortunate photo of... I mean, you get, as you go to a game, you get lots of like little merchandise, unofficial merchandise sellers on the streets, a bit like you do at gigs where they've got all the band T-shirts laid out on the tarpaulin on the pavement. You know, it's a fairly common occurrence. Well, it's a very unfortunate man before the Chelsea game at the end of 2014 season. So, in a way, you've got to admire his confidence. Selling Liverpool FC Premier League Champions 2013-14 T-shirts.
Oh...
And I'm sure people bought them, but it is, to my mind, the worst piece of Liverpool merchandise ever produced by anyone. Oh. It's so painful.
I mean, those children's patio set look quite good now, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Christ. But, yeah, did you say you had a quiz for me?
I did have a little quiz for you, yeah, because now we're going to talk about... other clubs tap that you can get. This is a quiz called Did the Club Make It or Did Owen Fake It? Now, you also...
It's a great name.
Thank you very much. You've done a bit of research yourself into this, so some of these you might well know, but I'm basically going to read you out some club merchandise and you have to tell me if the club made it or if I fade it. I mean, make is not the right past tense for fake, but basically if it's real or not, if it actually exists. So, your first one, we'll start off with a nice easy one. The Cardiff City chopping board.
Yes.
Did Owen fake it or did the club make it?
Yeah, definitely made that.
They did. You could buy a Cardiff City chopping board, but Matt, if I got you a Cardiff City chopping board, say you're a Cardiff fan, would you not be rightly a bit kind of disgruntled that I'd not gone to much effort with my present for you?
I would be, yes.
Well, lucky for you, they do personalised ones.
Wow.
So, yeah, personalised Cardiff City chopping board. Saying, how would you personalise a chopping board? What would that? Ooh, chop your bread on me, Matilda. Like, what? Why? Anyway, the Stoke City Belly Bar.
Yes.
Did I fake it, or did the
I
club
think
make it?
I've seen that. Yes.
Yes, indeed. That is also a genuine product you can buy.
That's appalling.
If you want your belly button pierced, but you also don't want anyone staring intently into your navel to forget how much you support Stoke City, you can buy a Stoke City belly bar to actually go through your skin. Weirdly, Arsenal did them as well.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently it's quite a popular thing. Okay, next up, the Sheffield United oven gloves. Did the club make it, or did Owen fake it?
The thing is, I think they could exist, but I don't think the club made it. I say you faked it.
I fake it. You are correct, and
Yeah.
your line of thinking is correct as well. Sheffield United don't sell oven gloves, but Chelsea and Norwich do.
Amazing.
Although with Norwich that sort of makes sense because they're owned by Delia Smith, so you can sort of see a connection. See also a weird trend for chef's hats.
Yeah, I've seen the. Yeah, I think Arsenal do them. I think.
Arsenal and Man City, do like branded chef hats.
Amazing.
Okay. The West Ham bin sticker.
Sorry, a bin sticker.
Bin sticker. If you don't like how your bin looks, get a massive bin-length sticker with a West Ham dress on it to stick on your bin. Did Owen make it? No, did Owen fake it, or did the club make it?
I think you faked it.
That is a genuine product, Matt.
Oh, that's terrible.
Should I be keeping I should be keeping a score of it, shouldn't I?
You should be, but then I don't keep scores of all the quizzes I give you, so.
Alright, you've got 3 right so far. Yeah, the West Ham bin sticker is a legitimate.
Wheelie bin stickers as well.
Yeah.
It's not just like a little bin that you have like at home.
No, not like a waste paper basket, an actual like dustbin.
Yeah, like the ones you hand over to the bin men on a Friday morning or whatever.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Or Wednesday morning, depending on your local authority.
Yes, of course.
Okay. West Bromwich Albion nappies.
Nah, you faked that.
I did fake that.
There you go.
They are shit enough without needing it to make nappies. Okay. Swansea City perfume.
I'm going to go yes.
Correct, yeah, that exists. What it smells like, I don't know. Swansea City, presumably, so despair.
Well, to be fair, if it's like
despair and the Welsh.
if it's an eau de toilette, I don't know what the women's toilets smell like at the Liberty, but maybe something like that.
That is, probably worse than the men's, I'd have thought. Okay, we're going to go back to West Ham. We already know they did the bin sticker, but did they also do the high-vis jacket?
The thing is, I think I've seen people at the ground wearing them, so I'm going to say yeah.
You're correct. You can, if you've ever looked at a West Ham steward and thought, I like that more than the home, you can now buy a West Ham branded high-vis jacket.
Oh, that's the most niche thing.
You say that, it's not even the most niche thing that West Ham sell. Because, like bobbleheads.
Yep.
You think, like, as a sort of novelty, I might get a bobblehead of my favourite player, say, I don't know, like Andy Carroll, plays for West Ham. I'm a West Ham fan. I like Andy Carroll. I'll get a bobblehead to go on my chest of drawers or whatever. Yeah?
Yeah.
Or you might even think, I got a lot of time for David Moyes as a manager. Like, I'll get a manager bobblehead. Have you ever looked at the chairman of your football club and thought, you know what, I'd love a small, resin model of my chairman as a bobblehead.
Right.
You can buy David Sullivan and David Gold bobbleheads from a West Ham shop.
Do you know what? I didn't know that, but I can one up you on that because yes, that's true. But I'd say David Gold, and David Sullivan are generally quite famous, relatively in the world of football. Have you ever heard of John Berylson?
No, I have no idea who he is.
He is the chairman of Millwall, and you could buy an official John Berylson bobblehead.
I want one.
Oh, John Berylson. I mean, no one who supports Millwall know who John Berylson is.
I've never heard of him.
No.
Weirdly though, that is not the strangest chairman-based merchandise you can get.
Amazing.
If you're a Fulham fan, pretend you're a Fulham fan. How do you feel, Matt?
I'm quite sad. I'm quite sad now.
They're not doing badly. How do you feel about your former chairman, Mohammed Al Fayed?
I don't know. He's all right, I suppose.
Would you like a small statue of him?
No.
Well, you can't get them. Would you like a small bobblehead of him?
Yes, okay.
Well, you can't get those.
Oh, that's a shame.
But would you like to carry his likeness around in your pocket, but for practical reasons, also be able to store up to 2 gigabytes of data into it and insert it into any computer?
Yeah, I've seen one of these as well.
The Mohammed Al-Fayed USB stick is a thing.
That's excellent, isn't it?
What in God's name? Like, what the hell?
He looks so happy, though.
He does. He never looks that happy in real life, though.
No.
Like, it says something about a person's, like the happiest they could ever look is when they're a USB stick. Anyhow, moving back to the game, we're gonna fly through a few of these because time is getting on. But the Man United Space Hopper.
Fake.
No, that actually exists.
Oh.
The Sunderland Sudoku book.
Fake.
That is fake.
Yeah.
Yeovil Town Ice Scrapers.
I want that to be true.
But is it true or not?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm afraid it's not, Matt. They are fake.
Broken my heart.
I'm afraid if you're a football fan and you want to scrape ice off your car, you're going to have to support Coventry City.
Oh,
wow. Talking of cars, Bournemouth dashboard mats. Dashboard mat is a small mat you place on your dashboard, and then any items placed on top of a mat won't slip off the dashboard when you're driving.
The fact you had to explain that means you won't have made it up, so it's true.
Well, I mean, we've actually got a dashboard mat in our car, so they definitely exist, but can you get Bournemouth ones?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
There you go.
Correct. Barnet FC trolley tokens. So if you're in a supermarket and you don't have £1 on you, you could have a Barnet FC trolley token to release your trolley.
I'm going to say you've made that up.
I've only made half of it up because you can get Man City branded trolley tokens.
Right, so it is fake though.
It's fake.
Yeah.
But based in reality. The Norwich City Rubik's Cube.
Well, yes.
Correct, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know there was a Liverpool one, and I put that in. The Middlesbrough FC Fireguard.
Fireguard?
So, like, you put it in front of the fireplace to stop like logs falling out.
No, fake.
Correct. I mean, Fireguards are a thing, but unfortunately they've not yet made a Middlesbrough one. The Hull City Meerkat.
So I'm assuming that's not a real meerkat, that's like a toy meerkat.
It's a cuddly meerkat in a dressing gown. Or is it?
True.
Correct. And you can also get Swansea ones as well.
Oh, that's quite sweet, really.
Well, it's weird. I mean, neither Hull or Swansea have got anything to do with meerkats.
Mm-hmm.
But, nevertheless, we persist. The Ipswich Town Ice Cube tray.
Yes, true.
That's fake.
Oh.
But you can get an Arsenal one if you want ice cubes in the shape of the Arsenal crest.
Oh. Do you know what I might do if I was an Arsenal fan?
Yeah, I don't think it's the worst gift.
No.
That might be the Celtic windscreen wipers. Fake or not?
Oh, is that... no, fake.
That is fake, I'm afraid, yes. I don't even know how they would work. But the Borussia Dortmund waffle iron.
Fake.
Correct. It's actually a Bayern Munich waffle iron.
Oh, wow.
If you want to toast your waffles with a Bayern Munich crest.
Have you seen the Aston Villa toast printer?
Ah, that was my next one, actually, yeah.
Okay.
The toast stamp.
Because you said, you talked about that Aston Villa toast stamp. It's amazing. Because it's not even the crest, it's just 4 letters.
It's just AVFC, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just 4 letters. Why would you want that?
Press into your toast. They do an Everton one as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the crest, though?
I think so, yeah.
Because if it's the crest, that's cooler. Just 4 letters. Why would anyone want that?
Okay. You know the board game Risk?
Yes.
Have you ever wanted the Leicester City version?
That's fake.
It is sadly fake.
Gotta be fake.
I don't know how it would work.
No.
But, the MK Dons Dog Bowl.
Yes, definitely true.
No, it's actually a Chelsea bowl, I'm afraid.
Damn it.
The Everton FC travel adapter.
Yes, true.
That is also true. The Stoke City tape measure.
No, fake.
That's true.
Is it?
And you can also get Crystal Palace ones.
Stoke City tape measure. That's great. I want one of that. Well, if I was a Stoke fan, I'd love one of those. Yeah, you're right.
Chelsea hair straighteners.
No, because you can get Man United ones.
Are you sure you can't get both?
I'm going to say no.
Correct. You can only get Man United branded hair
There you
straighteners.
go.
Why you would want those, I don't know. Claudio Ranieri air freshener.
I think you could probably get that, like, not officially.
Oh yeah, but
Like, no, you can't. You couldn't get them officially. No.
it is fake.
Yeah.
You can get a Jose Mourinho one though.
Really? That is bizarre. Why would you want that?
Don't know. It's not like he's a particularly fresh man. Do you know what I mean?
No.
What haven't we said? The Crystal Palace cheerleaders calendar.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That is a thing.
They've
Not
got-
Crystal Palace calendar, but just, well, you can explain it.
The crystals, aren't they called?
The Crystals, yeah, just their own in-house cheerleading squad.
Yeah.
A few more. Portsmouth FC firelighters.
No, fake.
Oh, they are fake. The Paris Saint-Germain screwdriver set.
I want that to be true. Yes.
I'm afraid that one's fake.
Oh, you let me down.
The David Luiz glove puppet.
It's so stupid. I want to say it's true.
That's fake as well, I'm afraid.
Oh, stop breaking my heart.
Going back a few years for this one, the Sylvian Wiltord draft excluder.
Right, no, obviously not.
It's a draft excluder shaped like Sylvan Wiltord.
It can't possibly exist.
It doesn't exist.
No, I love
I
it.
found the idea quite amusing. Foam Upton Parks. So you know, like big foam hands.
Yeah.
Them, but not hands. Upton Park. You still wear them on your hands, but it's just the shape of Upton Park.
Fake.
True.
Oh, really?
It's West Ham. I've turned out any old time.
Apparently so.
And Chelsea hubcaps.
No.
They are true.
Oh, really?
You can buy Chelsea branded hubcaps.
Oh, no, you are right. Foam Upton Parks. Sorry, I'm still fascinated by them.
Yes, I don't get it, because it's not. Why would you put it on your? The whole point of putting a foam hand on your hand is to make your hand look bigger and like it's comedy oversized hand. Like, but it's not even hand shaped with Upton Park on. It's just a big picture of Upton that you slide your hand into. What are they for?
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why anyone would want that tap, but there we go. I'm sure somebody bought them.
I don't know why anyone would want most of it, other than maybe the. I don't know. Some of it's got a certain appeal. Anyway, that was Did Owen fake it or did the club make it? You ended up with 22 points.
Hey, that's quite good.
I don't know how many questions I asked you, but
Lots.
lots.
Okay. In which case, let me just finish on a final few that you didn't mention during that. You can buy Sunderland AFC toothbrushes.
Oh, you can get Liverpool toothbrushes as well,
You
actually.
can. I think, yeah, Sunderland ones for some weird reason. A Middlesbrough FC luxury men's gift set. So if you want to smell like the washroom you want to the washroom of Riverside, there you go.
If you want to smell like Middlesbrough.
Have you seen the Sergio Aguero figurines?
I've just seen it. That's dreadful.
Isn't that horrible?
That is awful. It's like a voodoo doll,
It's
but
sort of covered.
worse.
I think it's meant to be covered in mud, but it looks like it's been driven over.
Well, it just looks like it's made out of rotten wood.
Yeah, it's horrible. And his teeth.
God, that's awful. That's awful.
He looks more. And the funny thing is, he looks like former player Jesus Navas.
Crossed with Luis Suarez.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Crossed with Ken Dodd.
The Blackburn Rovers dog shit holder.
That's just Blackburn Rovers, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah. But they actually sold dog poop carriers.
That's amazing.
Shaped like bones. The Villarreal male thong.
I'm wearing one of those as we speak.
Yep, absolutely. With Villarreal branded across the front to hold in your gentleman sausage.
Well, let's be honest, it wasn't going to be branded across the back, was it?
No. You can buy the actual Stamford Bridge turf. And when we say the turf, we mean after the game. So they take the disgusting muddy mulch, put it in some glass perspex and sell it to you.
I mean, I've heard of worse ideas.
Yeah, it's just a bit disgusting.
Yeah. It's a bit.
But my final favourites are these last two that I'm sad you didn't realise for yourself. I'm sure you've now seen them. The Manchester City thong and suspenders set.
You know what? I had seen them and I completely forgot to put it on my list.
Oh, it's the best. But that's the best thing.
I can't believe how I missed it out, to be honest. I mean, look at it. It's
horrible. It's so horrible.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love Liverpool, but I'm not sure I'd want my girlfriend to wear that.
No, I would.
Even if it was Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's horrible. But my absolute favourite piece of memorabilia and football related stuff that's ever been released are the Newcastle United superhero
Oh,
costumes.
yes. Yes.
These are beyond excellent. And you know why? Do you know what the guy's name is?
Yes, I did read this. Don't tell me.
Okay,
Why I Man?
there you go. How
Jordan
utterly
superhero
genius
boy.
is that?
That's wonderful. I mean, it's hideous. It's awful. I don't know why you would where you would wear that. Like, what occasion calls for that?
No, I have absolutely no idea either. There's a woman's one as well that looks a bit like the Joker.
The woman's one is even worse, I think, because it's trying to be sexy, but it's not.
No,
Because it's got Newcastle all over it. And I've never looked at any Newcastle player and thought, ooh, that's a fetish I never realised I had.
Yeah.
You know, Alexander Mitrovic.
Yeah,
Oh,
wearing an undersized top hat.
yeah, and a tutu.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hello. Javier Manquillo and a pair of suspenders.
Yeah,
Oh,
with socks with bows on the front.
yeah. Just a bloody zebra corset. Let's try that
Those,
out.
look, the funny thing is, those are official.
I just...
They are actually official.
Who buys this stuff?
Wow.
Because the problem with this is, Matt, that not only is it rampant capitalism, but it is supply and demand. And the reason they're making this is because someone out there is buying it.
I know, right?
Who?
I don't
We need to make
know.
that our mission to find out who in the hell is buying some of this stuff.
Do you know what though? I'm glad because we've just got a half-hour feature out of it. So
True, that's true.
that's
good.
yeah. So that is a very long Christmas special New Year edition of the Plastic Scousers podcast.
Yes, Christmas bonus for you there. We hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
God! Oh, I just saw the bloody Sergio Aguero figurine again.
Yes.
It's going to haunt my nightmares.
It's not a pleasant thing. Thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Crystal's calendar. I think.
I'll carry on with the Newcastle lady. If you have any...
You're welcome, sir, mate.
Why I man? So if you have anything you would like to share with us or tell us over anything you've heard over the last few hours of the podcast, you can at our Twitter handles. I'm at MTH Simpson.
I'm at OGB Collins.
Or you can follow us on our Twitter handle at PScousers. You can also find us on YouTube, search Simpson and Collins on YouTube. And of course, if you've listened to this on a podcast via a Apple-based iTunes streaming service, please like and subscribe and download from there because that's good for our hits and our ratings, blah, 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 etc., etc.
Yes, if you actually own already this stuff already, please do get in touch with us. Tell us either whether it was bought for you or if you bought it for yourself and why, or if you bought it for someone else. Like genuinely, I would be fascinated to talk to you.
I think I almost want to wear. I almost want to find that Anfield Hawaiian shirt. I always feel like that's one of the things I have to wear now.
Yeah. Or if you want to send us any of it, if you do, get in touch on Twitter and we'll DM you our addresses. If you want to send us, genuinely, I would quite like the This Is Sugar jars. I think they're really cool.
They're quite good, aren't they? Yeah, I like those.
All the bottle openers, any of the sort of kitchenware stuff is quite good, but
yeah, just not the children's patio set.
No, I've already got that.
Yeah, I haven't got a garden, so.
Well, if you haven't got a garden, Matt, I know just the product for you.
Right, yeah, let's finish now. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Thank you for listening to Bumper Episode. We'll probably have a similarly long episode in January, as there's a lot... Well, we're recording this on, the 10th of January, and there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. But we're gonna get right under the skin, right up the nose of it. We are not going to let anything stop us keeping our powder dry. I don't think how many more sort of coded cocaine references I can make in the December one.
I think there's only one more that needs to be made before we quit and say goodbye, and that is thank you very much, thank you for listening, and Coke line.
Oh, I am a Liverpudlian, and I come from the Spion Cup. I love to sing, I love to shout, I get thrown out quite a lot. We support the team that's dressed in red. It's a team that you all know. It's a team that we call Liverpool, and to glory we will go. We've won the league, we've won the